ALRA TV.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अस्सलाम वालेकुम नाज़रीन मोहतरम। गौहर शाही मरहबा तमाम महबान गौहर शाही की खिदमत में आप मुलाहिज़ा फरमा रहे हैं ALRA टीवी की ख़ुसूसी नशियात, जिसमें नुमाइंदा गौहर शाही सैयद यूनुस AlGohar जलवा अफरोज़ होने वाले हैं। उससे कबल सैयदना इमाम मेहदी सरकार गौहर शाही की बारगाह अक़दस में नज़रान अक़ीदत पेश करने की सादत हासिल करूँगा। सैयद यूनुस AlGohar के कलाम पर अपनी मंजूम कलाम मेरे साथ हम नवाई में रिजवान गौहर शामिल हैं।
मकसद हमारा गौहर, मकसद हमारा गौहर, मंजिल हमारी गौहर, मकसद हमारा गौहर, मंजिल हमारी गौहर। गौहर के गीत गा जश्न गौहर मनाओ, गौहर के गीत गाओ, जश्न गौहर मनाओ। مقصد ہمارا گوہر، مقصد ہمارا گوہر، منزل ہماری گوہر، مقصد ہمارا گوہر، منزل ہماری گوہر، گوہر سے جدا ہو کر گمراہی ہے اندھیرا، گوہر سے جدا ہو کر گمراہی ہے اندھیرا، گوہر سے جدا ہو کر گمراہی ہے اندھیرا، مقصد ہمارا گوہر، مقصد ہمارا گوہر، منزل ہماری گوہر، مقصد ہمارا گوہر، منزل ہماری گوہر، شیطان کا وار سمجھو ہے فن ہے پناہ ہماری گوہر، شیطان کا وار سمجھو ہے پناہ ہماری گوہر، شیطان کا وار سمجھو ہے پناہ ہماری گوہر، ذکر گوہر شمع ہے، ذکر گوہر شمع ہے، رستا ہے ہو پہ گوہر، ذکر گوہر شمع ہے، رستا ہے ہو پہ گوہر، مقصد ہمارا گوہر، مقصد ہمارا گوہر، منزل ہماری گوہر، تنہائیوں میں گوہر، محفل ہماری گوہر، تنہائیوں میں گوہر، محفل ہماری گوہر، تنہائیوں میں گوہر، محفل ہماری گوہر، ایمان ہمارا گوہر، ایمان ہمارا گوہر، پہچان ہماری گوہر، ایمان ہمارا گوہر، ایمان ہمارا گوہر، پہچان ہماری گوہر، مقصد ہمارا گوہر، مقصد ہمارا گوہر، منزل ہماری گوہر، مقصد ہمارا گوہر، الفت ہماری گوہر، فطرت ہماری 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 گوہر، نصرت ہماری گوہر، نصرت ہماری گوہر، محبت ہماری گوہر،
مقصد ہمارا گوہر، مقصد گوہر بنا ہماری وقعت نہیں ذرا سی،
گوہر بنا ہماری وقعت نہیں ذرا سی،
گوہر بنا ہماری وقعت
نہیں ذرا سی،
عقبہ ہماری گوہر، عقبہ ہماری گوہر، دنیا ہماری گوہر، عقبہ ہماری گوہر، دنیا ہماری گوہر، عقبہ ہماری گوہر، دنیا
ہماری گوہر،
یونس گوہر کا پیارا لگاتا ہے یہی نعرہ، یونس
گوہر کا پیارا لگاتا ہے یہی نعرہ،
یونس گوہر کا پیارا لگاتا ہے یہی نعرہ، یونس
گوہر کا پیارا لگاتا ہے یہی نعرہ،
ہے پناہ ہماری گوہر، ہے پناہ ہماری گوہر، ہے شان ہماری گوہر، ہے پناہ ہماری گوہر، ہے شان
ہماری گوہر،
ہے پناہ ہماری گوہر، ہے شان
ہماری گوہر،
مقصد ہمارا گوہر، مقصد ہمارا گوہر، منزل
ہماری گوہر،
مقصد ہمارا گوہر، منزل
ہماری گوہر،
گوہر 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 یا گوہر گوہر، گوہر 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 یا گوہر گوہر، گوہر 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 یا گوہر گوہر، گوہر 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 یا
گوہر گوہر گوہر
گوہر گوہر گوہر یا گوہر گوہر،
گوہر 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 یا گوہر گوہر،
گوہر 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 یا
گوہر گوہر
یا گوہر 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 گوہر،
یا گوہر گوہر،
گوہر گوہر
گوہر گوہر گوہر،
گوہر 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 یا
گوہر گوہر، گوہر یا گوہر گوہر،
گوہر گوہر پکاروں میں مولا، گوہر گوہر پکاروں میں مولا، سے گوہر کو راضی تو کر دے، گوہر گوہر پکاروں میں مولا، گوہر گوہر
پکاروں میں مولا، سے گوہر کو راضی تو کر دے،
گوہر گوہر چھین لے ایسی نعمت خدارا، چھین لے ایسی نعمت خدارا، جو مجھے دل گوہر سے کر دے، چھین لے ایسی نعمت خدارا، چھین لے ایسی نعمت خدارا، جو مجھے دور
گوہر سے کر دے۔
تو ہی کہہ دے کیا تیرا نہیں میں، تو ہی کہہ دے
کیا تیرا نہیں میں،
کیا گوہر تجھ پہ شیدا نہیں میں، کیا گوہر تجھ پہ
شیدا نہیں میں،
کیا آس پر تیری زندہ نہیں میں، کیا آس پر تیری زندہ نہیں، کیا گوہر تیرا بندہ نہیں میں،
تیرا بندہ نہیں
کیا آس پر تیری زندہ نہیں میں، کیا آس پر تیری
زندہ نہیں
کیا گوہر تیرا بندہ
نہیں
گوہر 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 یا گوہر 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 گوہر
گوہر یا گوہر گوہر، گوہر یا گوہر گوہر، گوہر یا گوہر گوہر،
نام تیرا ہی نکلا زبان سے، نام تیرا ہی
نکلا زبان سے،
اے گوہر جب بھی گویا ہوئے ہم، اے گوہر جب بھی
گویا ہوئے ہم،
نام تیرا ہی نکلا زبان سے، نام
تیرا ہی نکلا زبان سے، گوہر جب بھی گویا ہوئے ہم،
تو نے چاہا تو تیرے ہوئے ہم، تو نے چاہا تو تیرے ہوئے ہم، واسطے تیرے پیدا ہوئے ہم، واسطے تیرے پیدا ہوئے ہم، تو نے چاہا تو تیرے ہوئے ہم، تو نے چاہا تو تیرے ہوئے ہم، واسطے تیرے
پیدا ہوئے، واسطے تیرے پیدا ہوئے،
ہے محبت ان آنکھوں کا بہنا،
محبت ان آنکھوں کا بہنا،
چپکے چپکے ہر ایک ظلم سہنا، چپکے چپکے
ہر ایک ظلم سہنا،
ہے محبت ان آنکھوں کا بہنا، ہے
محبت ان آنکھوں کا بہنا،
چپکے چپکے ہر ایک ظلم
سہنا،
چپکے چپکے
ہر ایک ظلم سہنا،
چوٹ کھا کر کسی سے نہ کہنا، چوٹ کھا کر کسی سے نہ کہنا، جا بھی دیکھ وفادار رہنا، جا بھی دیکھ
وفادار رہنا،
چپکے چپکے ہر ایک ظلم سہنا، چپکے چپکے ہر ایک ظلم
سہنا،
جا بھی دے کر
وفادار رہنا، دے کر وفادار رہنا،
گوہر 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 یا گوہر 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 یا
گوہر گوہر، گوہر گوہر یا گوہر گوہر،
گوہر گوہر
گوہر یا گوہر گوہر،
ظلم ظالم کی ٹھہری وراثت، ظلم ظالم کی
ٹھہری وراثت،
میرے دل کی دعا ہے محبت، قسمت حب گوہر ملے ایسی قسمت گوہر والوں کے دل کی ہے دولت گوہر والوں کے دل کی ہے دولت حب گوہر ملے ایسی قسمت حب گوہر ملے ایسی قسمت
والوں کے دل کی ہے دولت
گوہر والوں کے
دل کی ہے دولت
احتراز وفا ہے یہ نفرت احتراز وفا ہے یہ نفرت مبتلائے جفا ہے یہ فطرت مبتلائے جفا ہے یہ فطرت احتراز وفا ہے یہ نفرت احتراز وفا ہے یہ نفرت مبتلائے جفا ہے یہ فطرت مبتلائے جفا ہے یہ فطرت عشق گوہر گوہر کی ہے صفت عشق گوہر گوہر کی ہے صفت قلب معشوق کی نیاری نصرت قلب معشوق کی نیاری نصرت عشق گوہر گوہر کی ہے صفت عشق گوہر گوہر کی ہے صفت قلب معشوق کی
پیاری نصرت
قلب معشوق کی
پیاری نصرت
گوہر 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 یا گوہر گوہر گوہر
گوہر گوہر گوہر گوہر گوہر گوہر یا گوہر 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 یا گوہر گوہر
ایسی شریعت سے کیا فیض ہوگا
ایسی شریعت سے کیا فیض ہوگا
جس میں مہکے نہ خوشبو گوہر جس میں مہکے نہ خوشبو
گوہر
ایسی شریعت سے کیا فیض ہوگا
ایسی شریعت سے کیا فیض ہوگا جس میں
مہکے نہ خوشبو گوہر جس میں مہکے نہ خوشبو
گوہر
وہ طریقت کہاں ہے طریقت وہ طریقت کہاں ہے طریقت جس میں شامل نہیں رنگ گوہر جس میں شامل نہیں
رنگ گوہر
وہ طریقت کہاں ہے طریقت وہ طریقت کہاں ہے جس میں شامل نہیں
رنگ گوہر رنگ گوہر
ہے حقیقت وہی بس حقیقت ہے حقیقت وہی بس
حقیقت
جس میں جل کے تیرا عکس گوہر جس میں جل کے
تیرا عکس گوہر
ہے حقیقت وہی بس حقیقت ہے حقیقت وہی بس
حقیقت جس میں
جل کے تیرا عکس گوہر جس میں جل کے تیرا
عکس گوہر
معرفت ہے تیری مسکراہٹ معرفت ہے تیری مسکراہٹ رتبہ کیا ہے بجز نظر گوہر رتبہ کیا ہے بجز نظر گوہر معرفت ہے تیری مسکراہٹ معرفت ہے تیری مسکراہٹ رتبہ کیا ہے بجز نظر گوہر رتبہ کیا ہے بجز نظر یونس سوختہ کا ہے نعرہ، یونس سوختہ کا ہے نعرہ، دل ہے تیری محبت میں ہارا، دل ہے تیری محبت میں ہارا، یونس سوختہ کا ہے نعرہ، یونس سوختہ کا ہے نعرہ، دل ہے تیری محبت میں ہارا، دل ہے تیری محبت میں ہارا، تیرے افکار سے دل ہوا نیارا، تیرے افکار سے دل ہوا نیارا، تیری الفت کا بہتا ہوا دھارا، تیری الفت کا بہتا ہوا دھارا، تیرے افکار سے دل ہو نیارا، تیرے افکار سے دل ہو نیارا، تیری الفت کا بہتا ہوا دھارا، تیری الفت کا بہتا ہوا دھارا، گوہر 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 یا گوہر گوہر، گوہر 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 یا گوہر گوہر، گوہر گوہر یا گوہر گوہر، گوہر 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 یا گوہر گوہر، گوہر گوہر پکاروں میں مولا، گوہر گوہر پکاروں میں مولا، مجھ سے گوہر کو راضی تو کر دے، مجھ سے گوہر کو راضی تو کر دے، چھین لے ایسی نعمت خدارا، چھین لے ایسی نعمت خدارا، جو مجھے دور گوہر سے کر دے، جو مجھے دور گوہر سے کر دے، چھین لے ایسی نعمت خدارا، چھین لے ایسی نعمت خدارا، جو مجھے دور گوہر سے کر دے، جو مجھے دور گوہر سے کر دے، جو مجھے دور گوہر سے کر دے، گوہر 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 یا گوہر گوہر، گوہر 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 یا گوہر گوہر، گوہر 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 یا گوہر گوہر، یا گوہر گوہر، گوہر شاہی مرحبا۔ ناظرین محترم، اب ہم محفل کو آگے بڑھاتے ہوئے میں گزارش کروں گا ناصر یونس سے کہ وہ محفل کو آگے بڑھائے گا۔
Goshi Maraba, welcome in Goshi. Well, day 5, what a wonderful, and it was a real change in direction.
Oh, yes.
And very apt for us for this weekend that we've got coming up. We have a Mind, Body, Soul Expo in London, a huge one. So really covering the mind and body the last few days. Yesterday was the soul's turn, which was really wonderful. And humankind and its roots, really powerful speech yesterday that it must have had everybody mesmerized and hypnotized. It was so wonderful. And His Holiness talked about Gnostic knowledge, the purpose of creation, knowing God. And His Holiness started off really basically about the roots, talking about the souls, right from the birth, that the terrestrial souls, 3 terrestrial souls relating to the mineral soul, the bio soul, and the biological soul. And His Holiness spoke extensively that these are placed, the mineral soul first, and the blood clots and starts to form the body. And then the biological soul starts the growth and then the bio soul forms the actual shape of the baby. But that baby is not a complete human being until the angels come with the celestial souls, and the celestial souls are then implanted inside the baby, and the baby starts to cry. And this was right from the birth, wasn't it? What a beautiful start to the speech.
Before a child is born.
Yes, yeah, even before the birth we were told about the souls. Now, then His Holiness went on again about this purpose, about the Gnostic knowledge. Why did the souls come about? It came about because God came from the treasure and He wanted to be known. God wanted to be known, so He created the souls, which is, I mean, this knowledge that is just unheard of. And if people knew that this is, I mean, people strive to know the meaning of life. People have no idea where we came from, what we're supposed to do here, what happens to us afterwards. I mean, it's just incredible that we're just sitting here, listening to it unravel and just unfold, and very gradually and it all resonates, in your senses. And His Holiness said about the 5 celestial souls, they all relate to the 5 senses, which was a beautiful part of this as well. That and 5 is a very key number in spirituality. And covering something else that, I mean, I remember when I first came into MFI and into the company of His Holiness, and His Holiness spoke of the soul, but he just spoke of the main soul, that it comes once. And I was puzzled because I went on a big quest of spirituality long ago, the last 30 to 40 years. I was going to spiritual churches and psychic conventions and psychic circles, and it was pretty much proven to me that there is an afterlife. There are souls that appear in different people, and people can connect with the departed souls. So I was a bit puzzled, but then His Holiness went on to explain it in detail, that there are the 2 types of soul. And this soul that people are dealing with are the terrestrial souls. They are kept in a realm, and they're used in different bodies. So this really just resonates with both sides, both schools of thought. That some people think, no, the soul comes once, then it goes back to the upper realms. And then another school of thought says, no, we can connect to souls, we can communicate with souls, and people are reincarnated. So it just, it pleases both camps. Which was just, I mean, sometimes I think we take it so easily, but it's just incredible, isn't it? Absolutely incredible what we're listening to. And His Holiness went on again about this, that God created these souls, and these 5 souls related to the 5 senses. And then he just touched upon the prophets. The reason that the prophets come is to just touch up on religions, just to give a tweak, to steer them in the right direction if they're going wrong. But the religions are only established by 5 grand messengers, from Adam, and then each messenger brought a new technique and more powers and more spirituality to open the heart. Adam opened the heart, and then it went on to Prophet Abraham and Moses, to Jesus, and then right at the end was the last was Prophet Muhammad. And then the 5 religions were established, and the 5 souls were all awakened. And then His Holiness went on to say that all these are encompassed in that one building. So if one of you guys wants to sort of take it from there, that would be great.
Yeah, I'd like to, first of all, that was a brilliant summary of what was spoken about on day 5 of the Western Sufi Course. And I'd just like to start off with the Furqan. And I want you to explain a bit more in depth in regards to the difference between the terrestrial and the celestial souls. Could you define them, please?
Yep. Okay, so essentially the terrestrial spirits are here only for the body, to sustain the body. They are what gives our body life. And in terms of our spiritual path, they have no effect on it. It's only our celestial spirits, celestial souls that are affected on the spiritual path. The terrestrial spirits, they transmigrate between bodies, but they don't go anywhere. They just stay on this world. While the celestial spirits, if you revive them and awaken them, they can go up to higher realms, or and they only go in one body. So once they're here, and then once they're gone,
Yeah,
they're
so
not coming back.
specified for one individual alone.
Only for one individual. And it was also stated yesterday that if man has a strong mineral spirit, then he'll develop a fondness of rocks. He will live up in mountains, living among rocks. And if man has a particularly strong botanical spirit, then he will have a fondness of plants and flowers and trees.
Just 1 second. Now, you need to explain here as well why. Why is it that if someone has a stronger biospirit, that they would be spending more times with animals? And why is it that when someone has a more stronger mineral spirit, they would be spending more times, in gardening? They have those are one of their habits, gardening. And why is it that when someone has a stronger, what was the other one? Mineral spirit, then they tend to spend time in sculpting in the mountains and with rocks. Could you explain that?
Yeah. Okay, so the mineral spirit is the spirit that goes into rocks.
Exactly.
Rocks are made with only the mineral spirit.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have botanical or bio, so therefore they don't grow and they don't have a specific shape or movement.
Exactly.
Plants have botanical spirits, hence they are able to grow, and they are basically the spirit that plants have, and the biospirit is the one that animals have.
Exactly.
So that's why if either one of them is strong, then man has a inclination, a strong an inclination towards
I think again here in the Western Sufi course, we have so many people in the States, in the UK, and people like gardening. For example, right behind this studio, we have an entire gardening land where people just buy land and they love. They have an inclination towards plants, and we see those types of people, right? They love plants, raising plants, and everything to do with plants. They're really into it, and that's because they have a very strong. What was it again?
They have a very strong botanical spirit.
Botanical spirit, yeah, and that is why they're called a botanical spirit, because botanical is to do with plants.
Yeah.
And the attributes of this is, the botanical spirit. If you look at plants, they don't have a very solid form, do they? Not like rocks. They're leaves and they're very light. They don't have a very strong and solid base or form, and they can grow. We all know of the concept of photosynthesis. Those that have gone to have been through science classes, it's all basic stuff, photosynthesis and the way in which cells form. And then again, we were told that we also have these botanical spirits, and we have cells, and they go through a very similar sort of synthesis. We have protein synthesis and whatnot, and it's very similar to plants in that regard. And then we have the mineral soul. Now if you look at rocks, they are strong, solid. They have a form and they have a base, and we have the same. We have a skeleton, and if it were not for the mineral spirit, how would our, how would we be able to stand or sit in a certain position or keep upright? We would just be able, and we learn that in school as well, don't we, in science classes. And that's why the mineral spirit, the mineral soul, helps to form a structure, a skeleton in us. And that's why when that soul, that particular soul is more stronger in an individual, those people are more inclined towards rocks and mountain climbing and habits and hobbies to do with rocks of any form. And then the same with the biospirit. The biospirit is what makes us move, allows us to move. And the animal, it moves. But what is it that an animal can't do? It can't speak. It doesn't have the intellect that a human does. And these are the attributes that are attached to the celestial souls, the five senses. So the human being has the celestial souls, and those celestial souls carry the attributes. For example, the Ana is responsible for the intellect. And in the same way, each individual celestial soul is responsible for one of the five senses: speaking, hearing, and these sorts, the five senses. And this is what differentiates a man and an animal, the celestial souls. So the animals have, the terrestrial spirits, but they do not have the celestial souls. And this is also why His Divine Eminence Lord Gohar Shahi said that if a man or a woman is not able to enlighten those celestial souls, then what is the difference between an animal and a human being?
We just become social animals.
Exactly. And that was a point from yesterday as well, wasn't it? That having the first two cues of, the types of intellect, the human intelligence, which consists of mental and physical intelligence and emotional intelligence, once you have completed and you're utilizing these two forms of intelligence, then you can be called a social animal, because a human being is to become spiritual. And this brings us to the next point, which you had touched upon, the purpose of creation. And His Holiness said, as Steve also just mentioned, that God was in a hidden treasure. This is before creation and before anything started. And Prophet Muhammad said in one of his traditions that God was in a hidden treasure, and then he wanted to be known. And from here onwards, we realize what is the purpose of creation. And also one of the pointers and one of the bullet points from this topic was Gnosticism, also known as Mu'arifa in Sufism. So Mu'arifa is known as Gnosticism. And what is Mu'arifa or Gnosticism? The meaning of Gnosticism is to know God, is to have the knowledge of God and what he personally did and why he did what he did. So here onwards we get to know about the purpose of creation. So God was in a hidden treasure and he wanted to be known. Now, Stephen, could you elaborate on this point? What was then discussed? God was in a hidden treasure, he wanted to be known. And, the 124,000 prophets, and then he sent each prophet one by one.
Yes, yeah. And, the five grand messengers that came they were the ones that established the religions, and the prophets that came after that were just to retrack any problems or anything that they were going off track on these religions. This is what the prophets were doing. But the main reason for all this was that these five techniques, these five knowledges of the souls and the hearts and the religions are all together now. And it's stressed to us as well that we must respect all religions, we must respect all of the messengers, because they all had, they've got a separate floor on this building, and obviously a spiritual master, a spiritual guide can have access to any of these floors to, if somebody wants their heart opened or their souls open, whatever religion they come from, they can go to their respective messenger. It's all in this one building, which was just the image of it was just really overpowering yesterday.
It just makes it so much more understandable.
So that was, the purpose was that we have these souls. The celestial souls need to be reawakened. If they're not reawakened, we're no different to, as we mentioned before, the plants, the animals, or the stones. They have a soul. Furqan is going to come with us tomorrow to the mind, body and soul, and you'll see lots of stones, lots of crystals on different stands, and people are so drawn to these stones, not just selling them, but people buy them, people keep stones on them. They don't realize, yes, it does have an energy, but it's a very basic kind of soul, isn't it? I mean, it's not going to reawaken your heart. It's not going to enlighten your souls. It's going to give you a temporary burst of energy. It's going to make you feel nice because you've got this stone on you. And there'll be lots of people selling different herbs and flowers and plants, people that are drawn. So it'll be a real hotbed that, and examples to us when we go to these places, a practical example that people are very drawn to these because they don't probably realize why, but that soul that they have is very dominant in them, and whether it be the botanical soul or the mineral soul. So that was really a good point, but the fact is that these 5 messengers, these 5 souls are all together, and we must respect and love all the messengers and all the religions, which we do, which was a really good point.
Yeah, so I'd like to further extend upon the point that Reverend Steve made. So the 5 grand messengers brought down 5 parts of this, 5 stories of this building of Gnosticism, and there are equal parts. No religion is greater than the other. So all these conflicts about which religion is best, they're all pointless. They're all equally as great because they've all got equal shares of the entire, of all the knowledge of Gnosticism. But only with all of the entire building of Gnosticism will you truly be able to know God.
Yes.
And it's another point that His Holiness made yesterday, that religious people of different religions really should be mingling with each other, exchanging knowledge, exchanging what they know, telling each other what their religions taught them, and finding a middle ground. Like, for example, what we said about the transmigration of the terrestrial spirits. People and Hindus and any other person who believes in reincarnation, it's a valid point. It hasn't been fully explained to us until today, but it was a valid point. And then there are many people who say you only live once, and that's referring to the celestial spirits, another valid point. But only with all of this knowledge together will we get a full picture. And yeah, for some reason in modern day society, we've got it into our heads that every religion should be separate, every religion is complete, but this really isn't the case. And it's just created segregation among ourselves, creating crusades and wars among each other. It's just become a disaster. So if there's any other points you'd like to make.
Continuing on to the same point, the purpose of creation, and how Steve and Furqan very kindly elaborated on how God sent, according to the 5 senses and the 5 celestial souls, He sent the 5 religions, the 5 grand messengers, and they all brought religions, and the purpose of those religions was to enlighten man. And every single religion was sent down for those religions to educate man in spirituality, initiate man into spirituality, and women of course, and to teach them how to connect to God. And if we were to take Islam for an example, then God said in the Quran, أَفَمَنْ شَرَحَ اللَّهُ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ فَهُوَ نُورٌ مِّن رَبِّهِ. And it's so sad that in this day and age, the words are so clear, أَفَمَنْ شَرَحَ اللَّهُ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ, that God expands, pierces open the chest of one whom He wants to initiate into Islam. Now, if we were to look at this verse and put it in front of people who deny the existence of spirituality, then is God saying here that lay down a person and rip open his chest with a knife, carry out a surgery, and then how would you insert Islam into his chest? So this verse from the Quran clearly denotes the existence of spirituality. Otherwise, if you're going to go down to that no, there's no such thing as spirituality and everything that God has said is in the Quran and we must follow the Quran, then okay, lay down all the priests, lay down all the mullahs on the table, get a knife and open their chest up, see if they have Islam there. And if you are going to initiate somebody into Islam, if you are going to make somebody in Islam, which Allah says in the Quran that He will do, then how will you insert Islam into their chest? How will you rip open their chest and insert Islam into their chest? So this is the purpose of creation, that these religions were formed, and the purpose of those religions was to spiritually enlighten people. And the religions were formed to enlighten people and for them to realize that they need to gain the proximity of God. And this is what we do, what nobody wants to do. If you go to a Jummah prayer, the Friday sermon, to a mosque, this is what you will hear every single Friday or any random day that you go into the mosque, that guys, you must perform this goodness, guys, you must do this goodness, or you must do that goodness. And why? We want to go to Jannah, we want to go to paradise. Drink water on your knee because you will go to paradise. So everything is incentivized with the greed of going to heaven, to paradise. But is that what we truly came into this world for? Is that the greed that we must follow? It's like taking a child, and I mean, of course, when someone's a child, it sounds easy, right? I'll give you a lollipop if you do this. But come on, you're grown-ups now, you're following religions. And is this what you think God was doing, giving you a lollipop and making you do good deeds? So realizing what is the purpose of creation, and this ayah from the Quran clearly, I think it nails the point, that if it's not about spirituality, then go on, rip open somebody's chest and insert Islam into their heart. And nobody can do that, because God says that to those whom He wants to accept Islam or to enter into Islam, and Islam, again here, God is not talking about a physical, the religion how we understand it. It's about the essence of the religion. And if He wants a seeker to be initiated into the movement of any particular religion, what does He do? He opens their chest. He opens those celestial souls and He inserts the light of God within them. So this is the core of spirituality. And then the topic moved on to the principles of spirituality. And that was a very beautiful example where His Holiness said that the religions are not the destiny. And the example was that, for example, we're all traveling to America. I'm traveling to America, right? Now I'm going to go to the airport, and if I haven't booked a ticket, I'm going to see which airline is going to New York. And it won't matter which airline is going to New York, as long as whichever airline is going to New York is the fastest or the most the soonest airline. And it doesn't matter to me which airline it is, British Airways, Virgin Atlantic, Delta, United. I'm just going to hop onto the plane that's going to New York. In the same way, these religions were formed to bring us closer to God, to take us to God, to give us a roadmap towards God. And then whichever religion takes us to God, it's done its job. But the religion itself is not the destiny. That's like, hopping onto Virgin Atlantic, and you reach New York and you're like, no, I'm not getting off Virgin because this is where I came. Then you're just going to be going back and forth. You're not reaching the destiny. The destiny is God, and the means, the medium, the ship, the plane are these religions. So that is an essential point, and I think that point should break the rigidness that fellow religious people have amongst each other, right? If you'd like to elaborate on that.
Yeah, because there's not much we can add to that, but the destiny is God, and these religions are just the byways there. There's not much else we can say to that. That's really recapped if you'd like to. For that.
Yeah. So another example His Holiness made was comparing a religion to a banana. So you got Sharia. Sharia is the skin, the peel of the banana, and the inner goodness is is your faith. It's what you really want, nearness with God. Now nowadays people have gone and said, "Oh, I don't want the inner part. I just want the peel." It's kind of stupid, isn't it? Yeah, that's exactly.
Take it off.
Exactly.
And it's there to keep the banana safe, protected, and that's what Sharia is for, isn't it?
Yeah. So no one's going to eat the peel.
No.
We want the inner, the edible part. We want the nutrition from everything. We want that divine light.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a question to ask you. So going back to the point of the 5 different parts of Gnosticism, do you think the order in which it was given to us has any effect on it?
The way His Holiness explained it, and how in the beginning Steve clarified as well, when God sent down the 5 messengers, and it doesn't necessarily matter in which order, but how God sent them down. For example, Prophet Adam, he was sent down with, say 25% of the Gnostic knowledge, and then Prophet Abraham was sent down with the next 25, and you sum that with the 5 messengers. Now, and then the example you mentioned of a building, right, of 5 floors. Now you want to get to the roof. Roof is God, and you have 5 floors to get through. If you were to remove any floor, you wouldn't be able to, right? The building would collapse. So that is why when Prophet Muhammad said that a Muslim has to accept each messenger, that is exactly why he said it, because if you don't accept the messengers that came before, you wouldn't have the complete package of knowledge. And His Holiness said that the knowledge of Gnosticism, there was a portion granted to each of the 5 messengers, and for you to be able to fully comprehend the entire jigsaw puzzle, right, the entire package, you would have to learn to access each prophet and acquire that piece of Gnostic information, that piece of Gnostic spirituality. And that is when you are a complete Sufi. And it was for the first time after Prophet Muhammad, because all levels were complete. It was after the arrival of Prophet Muhammad that the saints in the religion introduced by Prophet Muhammad were able to access that Gnostic knowledge from Prophet Adam, from Prophet Abraham, Moses, and Lord Jesus Christ. And that's how they became the ultimate Sufi, the complete Sufi. Otherwise, you can have Sufis that have adhered to, say, 25 or 45% of the Gnostic knowledge, but that's what, again, is a kamil, they say the complete guide, because they have attained or accessed every part of the Gnostic knowledge. And if you were to look at it, there's also 5 levels in spirituality. They say Mu'arifa, Tariqa, and Haqiqat, and all of those levels, again, 5. And it makes sense because 5 celestial souls, they were brought down by 5 grand messengers. It all comes together. And that is why, I was attending to somebody's message on the Glastonbury event a few days ago, and somebody said that this was a cult. And, it's just another cult. They're going to make you a cult, and, the rest of the gibberish. I explained to him very nicely that cults have no logic. And the most amazing part about this spirituality is, number 1, it's very spiritual. And number 2, it's extremely logical, isn't it? it's all chained together and it all makes sense, and it goes hand in hand with the science that we've all grown up to know.
Right, even everything we were just told so far in the couple of days of the Western Sufi course, it already fits together.
Yes, exactly.
Cults are very much to elevate somebody else,
Exactly.
and this is all about elevating ourselves, isn't it? This is what His Holiness wants us all to elevate ourselves on spirituality. The self-awareness is just incredible. It's such an incredible tool for spirituality that we didn't think of. So many years we've all been concentrating on the awakening of the heart. We thought that really was what it was all about, but now we're learning how important it is for this self-exploration. This is what His Holiness called it. And this is self-exploration.
Yes.
We're finding out about our emotions, our feelings. We're finding out about our spiritual caliber, just how far we can go on this spiritual path.
Where and why we came.
So it cannot never be described as a cult. We're not into promoting any one person or any organisation. This is blessings and bounties from His Holiness Gohar that on us, that we can, for ourselves, instead of reading books about other people and other people's spiritual journeys, we can go on our own spiritual journey.
Yes,
And
exactly.
we're not even being forced. We're not even being forced on it. Like in a cult, they force you, believe this. You have no say in this. I don't care about what your opinion is. Just believe it. But here we're just giving you the knowledge. His Holiness isn't shoving it down your throat. He's just handing it out. So anyways, before we get carried away talking about not a cult, I'd like to start talking about what's coming up today. So opening of the spiritual heart.
Yeah, I think that was the topic that's going to be on today. We are now into the 6th day of the Western Sufi Course, and it continues to, I think, gobsmack us every day. It's bedazzling every single day, and the extremity and the deepness, the logicalness of the teachings and of the truth is mesmerizing. And moving onwards, I'd just like to invite the president of Mehdi Foundation International to go over the points from yesterday in Urdu, so that the audience from the Eastern countries may also benefit and understand some of the points that we've been blessed with. Gohar Shai Marhaba.
गोहर शाही मरहबा। कल जो गुफ्तगू हुई है उससे पहले मैं कुछ जो उससे एक दिन पहले चौथे दिन की जो गुफ्तगू थी उसके ऊपर बात करूँगा। और जैसा कि आप सब जानते हैं कि 4th डे में चौथे दिन जो है वो इंटेलिजेंस के ऊपर बात हुई थी, जहानत, और उसको 4 हिस्सों में सईदी ने बयान फरमाया और नाम दिया ह्यूमन इंटेलिजेंस, और फिज़िकल इंटेलिजेंस या इंटेलेक्चुअल इंटेलिजेंस, इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस और मेंटल इंटेलिजेंस और स्पिरिचुअल इंटेलिजेंस, 4 हिस्सों में गुफ्तगू हुई थी। फरमाया कि ये जो रूहानियत है, ये जो कोर्स की जो कराया जा रहा है, ये जो भी गुफ्तगू हो रही है, उसका मकसद ये है, जो चार दिन यानी 5वें दिन से आपने फरमाया कि हम सूफ़ी कोर्स की इब्तिदा करेंगे, और जो पिछले 4 दिन हुए हैं वो आपने फरमाया कि इसलिए थे कि आप सब लोग ये जान लें कि क्या आप इस रास्ते पे चल सकते हैं, और इस रास्ते पे चलने के लिए किन किन चीज़ों की ज़रूरत है, क्या आप उन चीज़ों को अडॉप्ट यानी उनको अपना सकते हैं। तो फिर ये जो सारी तालीमात हैं ये एक सूफ़ी बनने के लिए ज़रूरी हैं। अब जैसा कि आपने फरमाया कि یعنی جو انسان کی سمجھ اور بوجھ کا تعلق ہے اور جو ہمارے اندر جو ریشنلزم ہے, ریشنلٹی ہے, تو مطلب آپ نے فرمایا کہ یہ جو یعنی ایک انجینئر بن جانا, ڈاکٹر بن جانا, یہ بہت ہی آسان ہے, اور صوفی بننا جو ہے وہ مشکل ہے, کیونکہ اس کے لیے بہت زیادہ محنت اور لگن اور ہمت کی ضرورت ہوتی ہے. جیسے کہ آپ نے فرمایا کہ پہلا جو نقطہ ہے فزیکل انٹیلیجنس, یعنی کامن سینس بھی کہہ لیں اس کو. آپ نے فرمایا کہ اس کا تعلق ہمارے جسم سے ہے, اور جسم جو ہے اس کی کیا ضروریات ہیں, کن چیزوں کا ہمیں خیال رکھنا چاہیے, اس کا تعلق جو ہے وہ فزیکل انٹیلیجنس سے ہے. اور پھر آپ نے فرمایا کہ جیسے فرض کیا کہ ہم کیا چیزیں کھائیں گے تو اس کا اثر کیا پڑے گا ہمارے جسم پہ, ہماری صحت کا تعلق کن چیزوں سے ہے, اور ان ساری چیزوں کا تعلق جو ہے وہ فزیکل انٹیلیجنس سے ہے. مثال دی آپ نے کہ بھئی ہم لوگ جو ہے وہ زیادہ تر یعنی اب آج کے اس دور میں اگر آپ دیکھیں تو یہ ہیلتھ کانشیس جو لوگ ہو چکے ہیں اتنا, کیونکہ لوگوں کے پاس اب اتنی نالج آ چکی ہے کہ بھئی ہمارے جسم میں ہم کیا کھاتے ہیں, اس سے کیا اثرات ہوتے ہیں, بیماریاں کس وجہ سے ہوتی ہیں. لیکن ہمارے ملکوں میں ابھی تک لوگ تیل سے بھرے ہوئے کھانے کھاتے ہیں اور خوب نان روٹی چاول جو ہے وہ دبا کے کھاتے ہیں. اس وقت تک کھاتے رہتے ہیں جب تک کہ کوئی حادثہ نہ ہو جائے. اس کے بعد پھر یعنی کسی کو ہارٹ اٹیک ہو گیا, کسی کو بلڈ پریشر ہو گیا, کسی کو ڈائبٹیز ہوگی, پھر وہ ڈاکٹر کے پاس گئے, پھر ڈاکٹر نے کہا کہ اب یہ چیزیں نہیں کھانا, تو پھر کہتے ہیں جی ہم کو اب یہ جو ہے ساری چیزیں منع ہو گئی ہیں, اب ہم نے جو ہے وہ پرہیز کرنا ہے. لیکن فرمایا کہ ان ساری چیزوں کا تعلق جو ہے وہ فزیکل انٹیلیجنس سے ہے. اگر بندے کے پاس جو ہے یہ انٹیلیجنس ہوگی, یہ اتنی ذہانت ہوگی کہ وہ جان سکے کہ اس کے جسم کو کس چیز کی ضرورت ہے, تو پھر وہ وہی چیزیں کرے گا جس کا تعلق جس سے اس کے جسم میں بہتری آئے گی. دوسری بات آپ نے فرمائی کہ ایکسرسائز, فرمایا کہ جسم کے لیے ضروری ہے کہ ہم ایکسرسائز کریں, اور حتیٰ کہ آپ نے فرمایا کہ ضروری نہیں ہے کہ جم جائیں, کیونکہ ہمارے جسم میں بہت سارے مسلز ہیں, اور آپ نے فرمایا کہ ان کو حرکت میں رکھنا بہت ضروری ہے. جیسے اپنی مثال دی کہ بھئی ہم نے جو ہے وہ ایک ایپ ڈاؤن لوڈ کر لی, سٹیپس والی ایپ کھول کے جو ہے وہ ایک ہی جگہ پہ کھڑے ہو کے سٹیپ کرنا شروع کر دیے. اب دن میں جو ہے وہ اپنے آپ کو ہی چیلنج دے دیا کہ بھئی 10,000 سٹیپ کرنے ہیں, اب کرتے رہے آپ سٹیپ. اسی سے ہی جو ہے وہ یعنی وہ جس طرح سرکار نے فرمایا کہ انسان کی جو کائنیٹک انرجی ہے جسم میں وہ بنتی رہتی ہے, کیونکہ کائنیٹک انرجی کا تعلق جو ہے وہ حرکت سے ہے, اور یہ کچھ بھی حرکت کرنے سے جو ہے وہ جسم چست رہتا ہے, اور اسی چیز کی ضرورت ہے جسم کی جو ہے وہ بہتری کے لیے اور ہمیں ایک صحت مند زندگی کے لیے. تو فرمایا کہ ایسی چیزوں کو مت کھاؤ جس کی وجہ سے کولیسٹرول ہو, جس کی وجہ سے فیٹ پیدا ہو جسم میں, جس کی وجہ سے جسم میں جو ہے وہ اس قسم کی چیزیں پیدا ہوں جس سے آپ کا جسم جو ہے وہ بیمار ہو جائے. اس کا تعلق جو ہے وہ فزیکل انٹیلیجنس سے ہے. اس کے بعد جو ہے وہ مینٹل انٹیلیجنس, فرمایا کہ یہ جب ہم سنتے ہیں کہ بھئی یہ بندہ جو ہے یعنی دماغی طور پر کتنا ذہین ہے یا مینٹلی کتنا یہ اس کے اندر یعنی انٹیلیجنٹ ہے, تو اس کا تعلق آپ نے فرمایا کہ جو لوگ بہت زیادہ سوچتے ہیں اور جن کا دماغ ہر وقت جو ہے وہ سوچوں میں غرق رہتا ہے, تو آپ نے فرمایا کہ ایسے لوگوں کا دماغ جو ہے وہ ضرورت سے زیادہ استعمال ہوتا ہے, تو پھر وہ کچھ اور کرنے کے قابل نہیں رہتے. اگر کسی چیز پہ فوکس کرنا چاہیں تو نہیں کر سکیں گے, اگر یعنی کہیں پہ دھیان دینا چاہیں تو نہیں دے سکیں گے. زیادہ تر جیسے بچوں کے ساتھ بھی یہ پرابلم ہوتی ہے, جو بہت زیادہ سوچوں میں جو ہے وہ ڈوبے رہتے ہیں, پھر جب اسکول میں یا کالج میں جاتے ہیں, جب لیکچر ہو رہا ہوتا ہے تو کچھ سمجھ میں نہیں آتا, کیونکہ دماغ ان کا جو ہے وہ حاضر نہیں ہوتا. کبھی اکثر کہتے ہیں یہ غائب، اس کا دماغ جو ہے وہ حاضر نہیں ہے، یہ وہاں پہ موجود نہیں ہوتا جب گفتگو ہو رہی ہوتی ہے. اسی طرح فرمایا کہ جب ہماری محفل میں آؤ یہاں پہ، اگر پہلے سے ہی تم لوگ سوچوں میں جو ہے وہ غرق رہو گے تو کچھ سمجھ میں نہیں آئے گا، یہاں آنے کا کوئی فائدہ نہیں ہے. کیونکہ فرمایا کہ یہ جو مینٹل انٹیلیجنس ہے اس کے لیے ضروری ہے کہ انسان کا جو فوکس ہے، یعنی اس کا ذہن کسی ایک پوائنٹ پہ فوکس کر سکے. جیسے گفتگو ہو رہی ہے تو اس گفتگو کے اوپر جو ہے وہ فوکس کرے تاکہ پھر اس کو سمجھ میں آئے گی، ورنہ صرف آواز آئے گی، سمجھ میں نہیں آئے گی. یعنی جو گفتگو ہو رہی ہے وہ آپ سن رہے ہوں گے، اس کو سمجھ نہیں سکیں گے کیونکہ دماغ غائب ہے، حاضر نہیں ہے. اسی طریقے سے آپ نے فرمایا کہ یعنی انسان کو چاہیے کہ ضروری ہے کہ وہ دن میں ایک مرتبہ جو ہے وہ اکیلا بیٹھ کے وہ لائٹس بند کر کے کسی ایک چیز پہ فوکس کرے. فرمایا کہ اگر اپنے بچے سے پیار ہے تو صرف بچے کے بارے میں سوچے کہ یہ بہت ضروری ہے کہ دماغ ایک پوائنٹ پہ وہ فوکس کر سکے. حتیٰ کہ یعنی آپ دیکھیں سرکار نے بھی کئی مرتبہ ہمیشہ، بلکہ جب بھی آپ نے فرمایا ذکر قلب کے بارے میں سمجھانے کے لیے، تو آپ نے ایک رات کو ایک یہ مشق بھی عطا کی ذکر قلب کے لیے، اور فرمایا کہ جب سونے لگیں تو آپ جو ہے مختلف باتیں سوچتے ہیں، اور فرمایا کہ جو سوچتے ہو وہ ہوتا تو نہیں ہے نا اگلے دن. تو سرکار فرماتے ہیں کہ پھر آپ کو کیا ضرورت ہے ادھر ادھر کی چیزیں سوچنے کی. فرمایا کہ اپنے دل کے اوپر توجہ کریں، اس میں ذات کا تصور کر کے دل کی دھڑکنوں کے ساتھ جو ہے وہ اللہ اللہ ملاتے ہوئے سو جائیں. تو ہو سکتا ہے کہ اسی عمل سے جو ہے اللہ تعالیٰ آپ کی پوری رات جو ہے وہ عبادت میں لکھ دے. تو یہ بھی ایک مینٹل انٹیلیجنس کی بات ہے. جن کے پاس یہ نہیں ہوتا وہ لوگ کسی بھی چیز کو جو ہے وہ سمجھ نہیں پاتے. سن لیتے ضرور ہیں لیکن ان کو سمجھ میں نہیں آتی. کہتے ہیں پھر پتہ ہے کیا ہوتا ہے، پھر یہ ہوتا ہے اکثر لوگ جو شکایت کرتے ہیں اس کی یہی وجہ ہے کہ جی ہم سنتے ہیں لیکن ہمیں یاد نہیں رہتا، کیونکہ دماغ حاضر نہیں ہے. سن رہے ہیں، سمجھ نہیں رہے. اگر کوئی بات سمجھ میں آ جائے تو ممکن نہیں ہے کہ آپ زندگی میں کبھی اس کو بھولیں. تو یہ اس کا تعلق جو ہے وہ مینٹل انٹیلیجنس سے ہے. اگر بات سمجھ میں، اگر دماغ جو ہے وہ حاضر ہے اور جو آپ بات سن رہے ہیں وہ سمجھ میں بھی آ رہی ہے، پھر وہ ذہن سے نکلتی نہیں ہے. تو یہ بھی کیونکہ جب انسان صوفی بننے، جاری بات ہے اب ہم چاہتے ہیں کہ ہم صوفی بن جائیں، ہم یہاں پہ بیٹھے ہیں، ہم باتیں سن رہے ہیں سیدی کی، اور اگر دماغ حاضر نہیں ہے تو پھر سمجھ میں ہی نہیں آئے گا. تو پھر کیسے آگے جو ہے وہ ہم جا سکیں گے، یا آگے ہم اس تعلیم میں کیسے آگے بڑھ سکیں گے. ظاہری تعلیم کے لیے بھی، باطنی تعلیم کے لیے بھی، دونوں کے لیے بہت اہم چیز ہے. اس کے بعد آپ نے فرمایا کہ ایموشنل انٹیلیجنس، تو اس کے جو ہے وہ دو یعنی حصوں میں اس کو ڈیوائیڈ کیا آپ نے. ایک تو سیلف ریگولیشن. اب اس کے بارے میں آپ نے فرمایا کہ سیلف ریگولیشن جو ہے وہ اس کا تعلق یعنی ظاہر میں اگر دیکھا جائے تو آپ نے فرمایا کہ جیسے بڑا ایک یعنی ایڈلٹ، یعنی ایک بڑا عورت یا آدمی ہے، انسان ہے، وہ ایک ہی وقت میں بہت سارے کام کر سکتا ہے. مثال جیسے کل یعنی پرسوں دی آپ نے کہ اگر ایک عورت ہے کھانا بنا رہی ہے تو کھانا بناتے ہوئے وہ گانا بھی سن سکتی ہے، اور اس کے بعد جو ہے وہ جا کے اگر کسی نے ڈور بیل کی ہے وہ بھی کھول سکتی ہے. اچھا، اسی طرح جو ہے وہ یعنی ملٹی ٹاسکنگ، یا اس بات پہ سرکار نے جو ہے وہ ذکر قلب میں بھی ایک مثال دی. فرمایا کہ وہ چلتے پھرتے آپ نے جو ہے وہ ذکر کرنا ہے. آپ گاڑی چلا رہے ہیں آپ ذکر کریں، آپ ٹی وی دیکھ رہے ہیں آپ ذکر کر سکتے ہیں، آپ اخبار پڑھیں آپ ذکر کر سکتے ہیں. یہ کیا ہے؟ یہ ملٹی ٹاسکنگ ہے نا. فرمایا وہ پھر اس کا مثال بھی دیا آپ نے. فرمایا کہ وہ کیسے، لوگوں نے پوچھا کہ سرکار ہم یعنی ایک ہی وقت میں یہ دونوں کام کیسے کر سکتے ہیں؟ تو آپ نے فرمایا کہ جس طرح آپ نے دیکھا ہوگا کہ دودھ رکھتے ہیں ہم چولہے پہ بوائل ہونے کے لیے، تو سرکار نے فرمایا کہ اب آپ کو معلوم ہے کہ وہ وقت لیتا ہے، تو اس دوران جو ہے آپ دوسرے کام بھی کرتے ہیں، گھر کے کوئی اور کام بھی کر لیا، کچھ اور بھی دیکھ لیا، لیکن آپ نے فرمایا کہ تمہارا ذہن جو ہے وہ چولہے پہ جو دودھ رکھا ہوا ہے اس پہ رہتا ہے کہ کہیں وہ بوائل ہو کے گر نہ جائے. اسی طرح فرمایا کہ وہی دھیان کام کرتے ہوئے جو تمہارا دودھ کے اوپر تھا ویسا ہی دھیان تم نے کام کرتے ہوئے اپنے دل کے اوپر رکھنا ہے. تو یہ بھی دیکھیں، یہ چیز بھی اسی طرف جو ہے وہ انٹیلیجنس سے اس کا تعلق ہے کہ انسان جو ہے وہ کتنا حاضر ہے کہ ایک ہی وقت میں کتنے کام کر سکتا ہے. اور پھر فرمایا کہ اب بچہ جو ہے آپ نے فرمایا کہ اس کو جو ہے وہ ان چیزوں کا نہیں پتہ, وہ ملٹی ٹاسکنگ نہیں کر سکتا. اگر ایک بات پہ اڑ جائے تو بس اڑ جاتا ہے کہ اگر یہ میں نے کھلونا لینا ہے تو بس وہی لینا ہے. اگر کوئی چیز پسند نہیں آئی, یعنی ہم بڑے ہیں, فرمایا کہ تم بڑے جو لوگ ہیں اگر کسی نے کوئی گفٹ دے دیا پسند نہیں آیا تو خاموشی سے اس کو لے کے اظہار نہیں کرتے ناپسندگی کا, کیونکہ اس کو ان کو معلوم ہے کہ یہ بری بات ہے. لیکن بچوں کا فرمایا کہ کیونکہ ان کو سمجھ نہیں ہے اس وجہ سے وہ کسی کے بھی سامنے کہہ دیتے ہیں کہ نہیں مجھے نہیں پسند, یہ جو چیز تم نے دی ہے مجھے پسند نہیں ہے, اور جس چیز پہ اڑ جائیں بس وہ ضد لگا دیتے ہیں. اور ان چیزوں کو وہ سمجھ نہیں پاتے کیونکہ ان کو سیلف ریگولیشن کا نہیں پتہ. بڑا جب ہو جاتا ہے انسان تو اس کے اندر یہ جو ہے وہ سمجھ میں آ جاتی ہے, اور یہ بھی ایموشنل انٹیلیجنس کا ایک حصہ ہے. اور پھر آپ نے یہ بھی فرمایا کہ اس کا تعلق جو ہے, یعنی ایک طریقے سے جب یہ بات ہوتی ہے سیلف ریگولیشن کی, تو یعنی روحانیت میں کہاں استعمال ہوتا ہے. یہ روحانیت میں اس طریقے سے استعمال ہوتا ہے کہ انسان کو جو ہے وہ پتہ ہونا چاہیے کہ اس کی زندگی میں اس کی پریورٹیز کیا ہیں, اور پھر ان پریورٹیز کو سامنے رکھتے ہوئے وہ اپنے جو ہے وہ اس کے اوپر کام کرے تاکہ اس کو جس کام میں وہ لگا ہے اس میں اس کو کامیابی مل جائے. پھر آپ نے فرمایا کہ اسی کا جو ایموشنل انٹیلیجنس کا جو ہے وہ ایک حصہ سوشل سکلز ہے, کہ جب بھی یعنی فرمایا کہ اگر ایک کوئی صوفی ہوگا, خواہ کتنا بھی اس کا دل ٹوٹا ہو, خواہ کتنا بھی وہ پریشان ہو, لیکن جب بھی کسی سے ملے گا تو دوسرے بندے کو یہ احساس تک نہیں ہونے دے گا کہ وہ کتنا دکھی ہے یا کتنی مشکل میں ہے یا کتنی پریشانی میں ہے. فرمایا کہ عام لوگوں کے ساتھ کیا ہوتا ہے کہ کچھ چھوٹا سا بھی ہو جائے تو اس کا واویلا کرتے ہیں, اس کا چرچا کرتے ہیں, یہ ہو گیا وہ ہو گیا, اور اپنے ساتھ ہو تو ڈبل کرتے ہیں, دوسرے کے ساتھ ہو تو اس کی پرواہ نہیں ہوتی ان کو. تو یہ بھی احساس کا ہی ایک تعلق ہے کہ بھئی یہ جتنا انسان اپنے لیے پریشان ہو اتنا دوسرے کی بھی پریشانی کا اس کو احساس ہو جائے. اور پھر جو ہے اس کے بعد آپ نے فرمایا کہ موٹیویشن ایک حصہ اس کا موٹیویشن بھی ہے, کہ جس طرح فرمایا کہ ہر انسان جو ہے یعنی ظاہر میں اگر دیکھیں, اس کا ایک مثال میں آپ کو دیتا ہوں کہ اکثر جب ہم کسی کو ذکر دیتے ہیں, بہت سارے ایسے لوگ ہیں, کثیر تعداد ہے لوگوں کی جو کہتے ہیں کہ ہمارا ذکر چل گیا ہے, لیکن کچھ لوگ ایسے بھی ہیں جو شکایت کرتے ہیں کہ ہمارا ذکر نہیں چلا 2 دن بعد, 1 دن بعد, 1.5 دن بعد, 3 دن بعد, اور کہتے ہیں اب ہم کیا کریں. یہاں پہ پھر ہم یعنی ذاتی طور پہ میں اگر ان سے بات کروں تو میں ان کو موٹیویٹ کرتا ہوں اس بات کے لیے کہ بھئی ہمت نہ ہاریں. سرکار گوہر شاہی نے فرمایا ہے کہ اس رستے میں ہمت والوں کو اللہ پسند کرتا ہے, اور جو لوگ ہمت والے نہیں ہوتے وہ اس رستے میں کامیاب نہیں ہو سکتے. اگر ذکر نہیں چلا اور بندہ یہ سوچ لے کہ بس اب نہیں چلا تو چھوڑ دیتے ہیں, تو پھر وہیں اس کا رستہ جو ہے وہ ختم ہو جائے گا. اور اگر وہ یعنی پوری ہمت کے ساتھ لگا رہے کہ بھئی چلے یا نہ چلے میں نے چھوڑنا نہیں. اور پھر میں تو لوگوں سے یہ کہتا ہوں کہ بھئی اللہ کا ذکر کرنے میں مسئلہ کیا ہے, اگر آج نہیں چلا, کل نہیں چلا, 1 ہفتے کے بعد نہیں چلا, ہو سکتا ہے اگر آپ کی ہمت ہی دیکھ لے اللہ تو آپ کامیاب ہو جائیں. یہی وہ چیز ہے. فرمایا کہ یعنی جو صوفی ہوتے ہیں ان کے کتنے بھی جو ہے وہ ہمت کوئی توڑے, ان کو کتنا ہی یعنی ڈسکریج کرے کوئی, لیکن ان کی جو موٹیویشن ہے وہ کم نہیں ہوتی, کیونکہ اس موٹیویشن کا تعلق جو ہے وہ ان کے جو ان کی مرشد کی طرف سے ان کو جو ہمت ملتی ہے اس سے ہوتا ہے. اور یہاں پہ بھی ہمیں جو یہ تعلیمات, یہ ابھی کیا ہے صوفی کورس جو کرایا جا رہا ہے, یہ کیا, یہ موٹیویٹ کیا جا رہا ہے ہمیں کہ ہم ان تعلیمات کی طرف راغب ہوں اور ان کو اپنائیں. اور پھر یہ بھی تو بتایا جا رہا ہے کہ بھئی اس رستے میں پریشانیاں آتی ہیں, ان پریشانیوں سے آپ کو گزر کے جو ہے وہ منزل ملے گی. تو پھر اگر اس رستے پہ چلتے ہوئے کوئی پریشانی آئے تو اس کی وجہ سے دل برداشتہ ہو کے اس کو چھوڑے نا. کیوں؟ کیونکہ ہم کو یہ معلوم ہے کہ اس رستے کے جو آخر میں جو منزل ہے وہ رب کی ذات ہے. تو اگر کسی کو چاہت ہے رب کو پانے کی تو پھر اس کو کوئی پریشانی, اس کو کوئی دنیاوی زندگی میں جو مشکلات آتی ہیں وہ اس رستے سے ہٹا نہیں سکتی. اسی کو فرمایا کہ جو ہے وہ موٹیویشن کہتے ہیں, کہ جتنا انسان کے اندر موٹیویشن ہوگی وہ کسی بھی پریشانی سے تنگ آ کے اس رستے کو یا کسی بھی اپنے ٹارگٹ کو چھوڑے گا نہیں. پھر آخر میں آپ نے بیان فرمایا اسپریچول انٹیلیجنس کا. اب اسپریچول انٹیلیجنس کا آپ نے فرمایا کہ بھئی جب انسان کے اندر اسپریچول انٹیلیجنس آ جاتی ہے تو پھر وہ باقی ساری انٹیلیجنس کے اوپر جو ہے وہ حاوی ہو جاتی ہے. اور پھر فرمایا کہ وہ ہے کیا, وہ یہ ہے کہ انسان کے اندر جب رب آ جاتا ہے تو پھر وہ صرف رب کے احکامات مانتا ہے. پھر وہ اپنے ایموشنز, اپنی یعنی مینٹل انٹیلیجنس ہو یا ایموشنل انٹیلیجنس ہو یا فزیکل انٹیلیجنس ہو, اس کے بارے میں نہیں سوچتا. پھر جو رب کہتا ہے وہ کر گزرتا ہے. اچھا, اس کے بارے میں آپ نے جو ہے وہ مثال دی کہ ابراہیم علیہ السلام کا واقعہ فرمایا کہ جب ان کو حکم ہوا کہ اپنے بیوی اور بچے کو جو ہے وہ خانہ کعبہ میں یعنی جو مکہ ہے وہاں پہ چھوڑ دو, تو وہاں تو اس وقت صحرا تھا. تو عام طور پہ اگر کہا جائے تو کہیں گے یہ تو بہت بڑی ناانصافی کی اور بے رحمی کی بات ہے کہ بھئی ایک چھوٹے شیرخوار بچے کو اور ایک عورت کو اکیلے ریگستان میں چھوڑائیں جہاں پہ نہ گھر یعنی نہ کھانا ہے نہ پینا ہے, کچھ بھی نہیں ہے. اس کے باوجود تو فرمایا کہ اب ظاہری طور پہ دیکھا جائے تو یہ یعنی اگر کوئی کسی کو بہت زیادہ احساس ہو اور کوئی ہمدرد ہو, بہت زیادہ دل جو ہے جس کا سافٹ ہو, تو وہ یہ ساری باتیں سوچ کے تو کبھی سوچ بھی نہیں سکتا کہ بھئی کوئی اپنی بیوی اور بچوں کو اس طرح چھوڑ دے. لیکن آپ نے فرمایا کہ وہ اللہ کا حکم تھا. جب اللہ کا حکم آ گیا تو وہ سارے کے سارے جو انسان کی اپنی ذاتی جو انٹیلیجنس ہے اس کے اوپر حاوی ہے, اور چپ کر کے خاموشی سے جو ہے وہ اپنے بیوی بچوں کو وہاں پہ چھوڑائے. اب یہ تو تھا ڈے 4 کا, اور جو کل گفتگو ہوئی ہے وہ میں یہ سمجھتا ہوں کہ ہم لوگوں کو جب اردو میں بھی ہوا ہے کورس تو یہ لوگوں کو بتایا گیا کہ بھئی یعنی عرضی ارواح کیا ہیں, سماوی ارواح کیا ہیں. لیکن جو ایک کل جو اہم پوائنٹ تھا وہ یہ تھا کہ فرمایا کہ یہ جو روحانیت ہے اس کا تعلق جو ہے معرفت سے, معرفت الہی سے ہے. اور اللہ تعالیٰ کو یعنی فرمایا کہ جب اس نے کہا کہ میں ایک چھپے ہوئے خزانے میں تھا اور مجھے اس بات کی چاہت ہوئی کہ مجھے پہچانا جائے, تو در حقیقت یہ تعلیم ہے رب کو پہچاننے کی. یہ کل کا ایک اہم پوائنٹ تھا. اور رب نے پھر پہچان کیسے کرائی؟ 5 مرسلین بھیجے, 5 مرسلین بھیج کے ہر ایک کو ایک لطیفے کا آپ نے جو ہے وہ اللہ نے جو ہے وہ تعلیم دی. تو 5 لطائف جو ہمارے سینے میں بند ہیں ان کا تعلق فرمایا کہ جیسے جیسے انسان یعنی ایک لطیفے کی تعلیم آئی تو ایک یعنی اللہ کو پہچان یعنی اللہ کے اوپر سے ایک پرت ہٹی, اتنا ہی انسان اللہ کو پہچان پایا. اور پھر اس طریقے سے جو ہے پھر ابراہیم علیہ السلام آئے تو اور پہچانا جانے لگا اللہ. پھر موسیٰ علیہ السلام آئے, پھر عیسیٰ علیہ السلام آئے, اور پھر آخر میں جب حضور پاک آئے تو اللہ تعالیٰ کی پہچان بھی آ گئی, اللہ تعالیٰ تک رسائی بھی آ گئی, اور اللہ تعالیٰ کا دیدار بھی آ گیا. اسی لیے فرمایا کہ یہ سارے جو مذاہب ہیں اس کے اوپر ایمان لانا ہر یعنی جو مسلمان بھی جو آخر میں چونکہ ہم یہ مسلمان اسلام آیا تو ان کے اوپر لازم تھا کہ تمام مذاہب کے مرسلین کے اوپر ایمان لایا جائے, اور تاکہ ان کے پاس وہ ساری تعلیم آ جائے جس سے رب کی پہچان ہوتی ہے. اور میں سمجھتا ہوں کہ اب یعنی آج کی جو ہے وہ گفتگو شروع ہونے والی ہے, تو بس میں اسی پہ جو ہے اکتفا کروں گا. گوہر شاہی مرحبا.
गौशाई मरहबा, क्या हाल? Yesterday, we discussed the analogy of spirituality, and we also discussed the origin of spirituality, how spirituality was, formed and established by God. And in the light of what we discussed yesterday, we also have come to know that the spiritual doctrine in every religion is different. Why it is different? Because there are 5 souls in the human breast, and a religion only has knowledge of one particular soul. So, spirituality was granted to different messengers in portions. No religion has complete form of spirituality, right? Adam, the first of all messengers, he was granted the knowledge of the spiritual heart. And then Abraham was granted the knowledge of the soul. So, if you were born at the time of Abraham and you wanted to become a Sufi, what would you need to do first? Begin your spirituality from the first page of spirituality. First, learn the lesson which was taught by Adam. Then you will come on to the portion of spirituality which was granted to your prophet, Abraham, right? And then came Moses. Now, at the time of Moses, those who wanted to learn spirituality, they would definitely begin with the first page of spirituality: enlighten the heart, awaken the soul, and then come to the third soul of the breast. And then when Jesus came, yet another knowledge of the soul was dispensed, right? So just imagine those who were disciples of Adam. They were the first ones. They learned how to spiritualize their heart and how to internalize remembrance of God. only one soul in their breast was enlightened. Why? Because knowledge of only one soul was revealed by then. Knowledge of no other soul was yet revealed. So those who came in the time of Abraham, and they were able to activate their hearts and their souls. So naturally, those who obtained the knowledge of two different souls, they were greater in spirituality than the first one, right? And then who came at the time of Moses, now this was the time when knowledge of three souls of the breast had been granted, and it was made available to the deserving ones. And those who acquired knowledge of all three souls, they were obviously greater than the previous one. And then Jesus came. Knowledge of one more soul was added to the spiritual sciences. Now, at the time of Jesus, knowledge of four souls of the breast was available. Those who managed to enlighten all four souls in their breast, they were greater than those who only knew knowledge of three souls. And then came Prophet Muhammad. With the arrival of Prophet Muhammad, knowledge of yet another soul was granted. And now at this stage, knowledge of 5 souls of the breast was available to obtain. Those who managed to enlighten all the 5 souls of the breast, they were definitely greater than those who acquired knowledge of 4 souls or 3 or 2 or 1. Right? And this is why God said in the Holy Quran that you have been given more bounty, you have been given more knowledge. But this is for those who acquired the knowledge of all 5 souls. Right? All 5 souls. Now, the knowledge of 5 souls is the entire spiritual commodity. And this is known as spirituality. What is it? And every religion was given a portion from this commodity of spirituality. Zishan, ये जरा बोर्ड लेके आना बेटा. Zishan, bring out the board, please. Wow. ये कौन से लतीफे की स्पिरिचुअलिटी? Now, this is categorically is the very existence, embodiment of Sufism. This is Sufism, the entire building, right? Heart, the soul, the siri, the khafi, and the khfa. All these 5 souls of the breast. And the knowledge of this combined is Sufism. Now, the portion of spirituality related to the heart was granted to Adam. Spirituality related to the soul was granted to Abraham. Spirituality related to Siri was granted to Moses. Spirituality of Khafi, Jesus, Ikhfa, Prophet Muhammad, right? Now comes religions. So a religion has only one soul's spirituality. Neither Hindu spirituality is saturated or perfect or culminative. No Jewish spirituality is perfect. Christian spirituality is not perfect. Islamic spirituality is not perfect. When they are combined, only then they are perfect. Kya khayal hai? When they are combined, they're perfect. This is why a Sufi naturally respects all the messengers. This is why a Sufi, all the messengers. And there are 5 portions of Sufism, right? And this is why there are 5 paths of spirituality. In Persian and Urdu, we call it mashrab. But in English, we call it path. Right? If you were initiated by Jesus, whether at the time of Jesus or after the disappearance of Jesus, whether you were initiated by Jesus physically or you were initiated by Jesus spiritually, no matter what religion you follow, you are on the path of Jesus. The Jesus path, Mashrab-e-Iswi, the Jesus path. If you were initiated either in this phenomenal world while Moses was still alive, or after the passing of Moses, spiritually you were initiated by Moses, you're on the path of Moses, the Moses path, Mashrabe-Muswi, the Moses path. Because it doesn't really matter. You can be initiated by any of these 5 grand messengers. Why? Because none of them have the monopoly. It's same thing, isn't it? Either you go to one or the other or the any other. Only one type of knowledge can be obtained from any of them. So eventually, after one, you'll have to turn to the other one. When he's done dispensing his share of knowledge which was granted to him, then you move on to the other one. Do you understand my point? So when knowledge of 5 souls in total is combined, it is the existence of Sufism. This is Sufi path. This is so Hindu spirituality, Christian spirituality, Jewish spirituality, or Muslim spirituality, singularly on their own, no form of spirituality that comes from a religion is perfect. I hope you understand that. Right? Now, if you understand this, I'll move on, right? Now, when this knowledge of the heart was given to Adam, he made 2 portions of that knowledge. He made 2 portions of that knowledge. He kept half portion of the knowledge for himself to work in the world, for initiation. And then other half of the knowledge of the heart was preserved by him for the Sufis to come within his own religious movement. The initiatory Sufis. There are many different forms of Sufis, but I have coined this word, initiatory Sufi. Initiatory Sufis are those who are permitted, authorized, delegated by God to initiate others in spirituality by means of awakening the spiritual heart and rendering the spiritual heart a very subtle, inner, constant station in which the heart remains to be engaged in permanent remembrance of God. So, the knowledge of the heart was divided. 2 portions were made. And every messenger did the same. Adam kept the half portion of the knowledge for himself, and the other half for the Sufis to come later on. Same goes with Abraham, 2 portions. So in total, the knowledge pertaining to 5 souls was divided into 10 parts. And the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, there are 10 concealed, hidden chapters of the Holy Scripture, which were never recorded. And these 10 chapters of the concealed knowledge are to be called Quran Maknoon in Quran. What is it called? Quran Maknoon. So what do we understand? Sufism is hierarchy of God's love. Let's declare this divine legacy to be hierarchy of divine love. Sufism was granted to all these religions in portions. And a true Sufi is one. Now listen to me. And a true Sufi is one who has enabled himself to obtain all different forms of spiritual knowledge from all grand messengers. If you only obtained knowledge of the heart from one grand messenger and that's it, no other soul is enlightened, you're not a complete Sufi. And if you have acquired knowledge of 4 souls in your breast, but one soul is still missing, right? You are not a complete Sufi. In order to become a complete Sufi, one must be blessed by all 5 grand messengers. One must be blessed by Adam, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Prophet Muhammad. If one has been blessed by all these 5 grand messengers and he has successfully obtained knowledge of the souls that these grand messengers were granted by God, only then you become a universal Sufi. Historically speaking, there have been very few Sufis who were perfect Sufis. Not all Sufis in any religion, not all Sufis were able to obtain knowledge of each and every soul in the breast from their concerning messengers. And here we go. Now we're in the era where there is no spiritual practice in reality exists. Now we only have people who talk beautifully about the truths, who can write beautiful words, who can compile a book with Sufi poetry, who can give you a detailed lecture on how Sufi behaved. But we do not have a genuine, practical, authentic Sufi who has met Adam, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Prophet Muhammad. If I want to buy a life-saving medicine and it costs £100, and I do not have money, and I seek help from 5 of my friends, and each one gives me a £20 note, and this is how I gather £100. And then I buy that medicine, life-saving drug, and my health is restored. I gather that money from 5 of my friends, and each of them gave me £20. When my health is restored, to which of my friends should I be more obliged and more grateful and more thankful to? Because any of them, if they gave me even £1 lesser, I wouldn't be able to buy the medicine. Right, Brother Steve? This is why a Sufi respect, venerate, and keep close to the heart all the divine spiritual dignitaries equally. A Sufi will respect Moses in the same way he will respect Abraham. He will respect Jesus in the same way as he respects Prophet Muhammad. Because without the help of any one of them, he wouldn't be able to reach God. So a true Sufi understands that the contribution of Adam and Abraham and Moses and Jesus is as important as contribution of Prophet Muhammad's knowledge. Those who do not know spirituality, they will never come to know of this truth. I hope you understand what it means. This is just an academic means with the help of which I want you to realize the truth. And once you have been told what the truth is, you should then develop love and respect for Adam, for Abraham, for Moses, for Jesus, for Muhammad equally. Because the source is one. If Prophet Muhammad got the book from God, Jesus didn't buy it from Borders or Barnes Nobles. All these prophets got the book from God. Same God. Right? So as a Sufi, if you understand this reality, as a Sufi, you must respect all of them. And this is natural. When you know that I have 5 souls in my breast, and before I'm able to reach God, all 5 souls must be activated, must be awakened and enlightenment. And all these 5 souls, the enlightenment of all these 5 souls doesn't come from one particular prophet or saint. It comes from all 5 grand messengers collectively. If you don't respect any of them, you will deprive yourself of one portion of spirituality. If one portion of spirituality is missing, you will never reach God. So as a true disciple of His Holiness Gohar Shahi, we understand the fact that we naturally respect all the messengers and all the grand messengers and all the prophets. This is very important for you to understand. This is point number 1. Now the panel will talk about it. Right, Brother Steve? इसको इसी तरह रहने दो ताकि लोग देख सकें. Now, in the light of what we have discussed, it is obvious that a Sufi has a broader understanding of religions and a broader understanding of spirituality. And because of this broader understanding of spirituality, he is more tolerant towards other religions. Why? Because he will understand that, like, without the help of my prophet, a Christian will not reach the goal. In a similar way, without the help of the Christian belief, a Muslim will not reach the goal. We're all in the same boat. Right, Brother Steve? So when you know, you are as important as I am, and believing in your prophet and your messenger is as important to me as it is for me to believe in my own prophet. Because without the help of his prophet, I won't reach my goal. And without the help of my Prophet, he won't reach his goal. Right? Tum bhi ho besahara, hum bhi hain besahara. So this notion and this idea will then broaden your mind and then will let you coexist in the same society and will create an atmosphere where you will not say, I am better than him or he is lower than me. Because you know the truth. And the truth is that you will only become sublime with the help of every single prophet. Right? That's very important. I would like the panel to discuss this and then we'll move on.
Gosha Marba. So today's topics that we learned on Sufism were in continuation to the topics that were discussed yesterday. And His Holiness fundamentally broke down why each of our 5 souls are necessary and how they're related to each of the 5 grand prophets. Whereas the initiation, where it starts from the heart, has to do with Prophet Adam and how he brought that down. And moving on to Abraham and how he brought the spirituality of the soul. Now, each of the prophets that came down, the grand messengers, they were each given only a part of spirituality, which is why each religion had one part of spirituality, and they were incomplete just on its own. When you have all 5 of your souls enlightened with the spirituality of all 5 grand messengers, from your heart, your soul, your siri, your akfa, and your khafi, then you reach the total complete Sufism. And a Sufi who has all 5 enlightened is then a complete Sufi. Whereas if he doesn't reach that, he isn't fully complete. And His Holiness went on to explain why there's different paths. So each path, whereas if you're following the Jesus path, then you're on the path of spirituality according to Jesus, and same goes for Moses, same goes for Abraham, same goes for Muhammad. And fundamentally it breaks down as to why we need to have respect for each religion. And you see this in today's society where there's rifts between different religions, and people claim that their religion is better than another, or my religion is better than yours. But you need to be equally respectful of every single religion, as is your own and the person in front of you, whether that's Christianity or Judaism or Islam or any other religion. Because for you to reach that complete path, to have that complete spirituality in you, you need to have each of the souls enlightened and awakened at the same time, for them to have a complete role in spirituality and reach that stage of being a complete Sufi. So that was quite nice just to have that deeper understanding. And His Holiness explained how each of the knowledges that were given to each soul, each prophet broke that down into 2 parts. So one they kept for themselves, and one part of that knowledge they kept for the Sufis to come in the future. So now that 5 souls that have that 5 knowledges have now been broken down into 10 parts. And this is why Prophet Muhammad said that there are 10 parts that are sealed, part of that spiritual knowledge. If you wanted to continue on.
Yeah.
That was lovely, Rahan, yeah. And His Holiness said that previously if they wanted the spiritual benevolence, if they wanted the awakening of the heart and soul, they had to go to the previous messenger. If followers of Abraham, they wanted the opening of the heart, they would have had to reference back to Adam. So each religion and each messenger had that individual kind of take to it, but now this is just bringing it all together, total Sufism, This is, I mean, when you think about interfaith, multi-faith, when you hear people just talk about it, they're still stuck in their own religion. They're still just getting their small portion. You know, it's like getting a small portion of chips, isn't it? Why don't you want to get the full package? You know, it's and this is explaining the full package. All of the messengers, all of the religions, all in one. I think this is the only way we'll be able to cohabit, and we will be able to interfaith and intermingle with people if we all realise that every section is one God, and you can have all of these bounties all in one. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that this is truly in sequence to what was discussed yesterday, and I'll just start at the point from yesterday where it began at the knowledge of Gnosticism, and where it was said that we must understand the purpose of creation, and that was that God was in a hidden treasure and he wanted to be known. I just want to give a small example from here onwards, that the point is that God wants to be known, and we can reference this, or metaphorically speaking, as an example, we can say that he made a book, the book of spirituality, and it has 5 chapters, which are the 5 messengers and their knowledge. And the example that you gave, that when Prophet Adam came, and the knowledge that pertained to him was the knowledge of the heart, the spiritual heart, the awakening of the heart. So those people, the disciples of Adam, had to start from page 1, the first page, and then Prophet Abraham came, and they had to obviously start from page 1, the first page. And then they had, Prophet Adam came and he had the knowledge of the heart, and then Prophet Abraham came, and you can refer to him as chapter 2, and he had the knowledge of the soul. So it's obvious that a person who is trying to read the entire book, and the purpose of the book is to know God, and to then say that someone who has read both chapter 1 and 2 is obviously going to be more knowledgeable, and to say more greater than one who has read only 1 chapter. And then when Prophet Moses came, he had the knowledge of 3 souls, and obviously the disciples of Prophet Moses would also have to start from the first page and then work their way up till the knowledge of Prophet Moses. And then Lord Jesus Christ came. Now we have 4 chapters, and then when Prophet Muhammad came, we have all 5 chapters. Now if a Muslim says today that I am the greatest, but he hasn't read the first chapter, he hasn't read the 2nd or 3rd or 4th chapter, and he's only read the last chapter, he doesn't know God. So because he's only read one of those chapters. So that's why it's important for a Sufi to have read all chapters, going through every single prophet, acquiring the knowledge of every single prophet, to properly and completely know the knowledge of God, to completely understand Gnosticism, the knowledge of Gnosticism. And the example was so brilliant that I am, ill, and I am suffering from, a disease, a life-threatening disease, and I need £100. And I don't have the £100, but I have 5 friends, and each of those 5 friends have given me £20. And when I've recovered from that ailment, from that disease, then who am I going to be more grateful to, more obliged to thank for? And if any one of those friends had given me one or 2 pounds fewer, I wouldn't have been able to buy the medicine which helped me recover. So who am I going to be more thankful to?
The contribution of each of the friends is as important as the other
important. Wow.
Right?
Beautiful. What an example. And wow, it's just incredible.
None is more important than the other. It's just incredible.
Exactly. And then obviously, like we have on the board right now, and this is going to be so amazing on the course, and just makes it so much easier to understand how we have Prophet Adam in the beginning, and then the heart, and Abraham and the soul, Moses and Siri, Jesus and Khafi and Muhammad and Akhfa, and how it just breaks it down visually to understand. And then the one point that was added to this, and again it goes hand in hand with the bookish Sufism that we've already heard of, and the saying of Prophet Muhammad that there were 10 chapters of the Quran that were concealed, the secretive chapters that were concealed and not revealed. And it's also said that those 10 chapters will be revealed by the Awaited One. And this is the knowledge of the Awaited One. And His Holiness also said that, like it was shown on the board, that Prophet Adam, he had the complete knowledge of the heart, but he kept half of it for himself in what he would require in the world to, help initiate the hearts of mankind. And then he reserved the other half for the initiatory Sufis that were to come in the future, to help them initiate people into the path of Sufism. And that was an amazing point, and how it's been explained in the Western Sufi Course. It just sinks into the brain. It's beautiful.
So Amiji, would you like to share some of your wisdom?
Creator of the world has given the beautiful gift of 5 elements of nature. There is 5, no 6, no 7, no 4. There is 5. There is a great knowledge from Creator of the world. If you want to generate the electricity at present time, if you want to generate electricity, then you have to necessity of earth to build up dam. There is earth, and then need of water. It is second element. And then evaporation and raining system. The sun is also, moon, star is also necessary as a light. Then fourth is air, circulate the wind, water flowing. So wind is also necessary. And 5 is sky. If there is no space as a sky, then water will not flow from the dam to generator of the electricity. This type of beautiful system is also in nature. It is the great message from Creator of the world to the human being. And human being has made the excellent generation of electricity. The 5 messenger, grant messengers is also equally important. There is the generation of generate of electricity. And if you want to generate the spiritual power in heart, then we must give the weightage, equal weightage of grant 5 messenger in the world. And there is also second beautiful example in the sky. At the rainy season, the electricity also generate naturally. It is also the gift from Creator of the world. There is also 5 elements necessary if we want to generate electricity in the rainy season, in the 2 clouds touch by 5 elements. There is also insect of earth, water, and and wind and sky and sunlight. There is also message to the human being that this is my natural generation of electricity at the rainy season in the sky. So, oh human being, learn, and not fighting that my messenger is great, my religion is great. No fighting, because in the nature system is also no, earth is not fight with water, water is not fight with sun, and sun is not fighting with air, that I am great, I am great. There is no fighting, harmony, systematic work. They are nature elements are working systematically, so that our 5 grand messenger is equally important, and all religions are also equally important, so that we must learn from that nature, Creator of the world, so that we must not fight among all religion and messengers. All messengers are equally. If we want to generate the spiritual power in heart, so that we must follow 5 grand messengers, and we equally get importance to the 5 messengers.
Thank you very much, Swamiji.
Zabardast.
That's great, wonderful. Now, now we will study the spiritual mediator, right? इसको साफ कर दो बेटा. Think. Different colors की chalks थी ना? हैं? Right. This is the sketch of a spiritual mediator. All his souls are enlightened, and he knows that each of the souls of the breast is linked with one of the grand messengers, right? So a Sufi knows that all the souls in his breast which are awakened and enlightened, and they are awakened and enlightened thanks to the blessings of each of the grand messengers. This spiritual mediator in the spiritual realm has to visit all the messengers in person, and he knows them by face, and he is able to communicate with each of the grand messengers, right? the heart. He knows if there is a problem with the heart, right? Who to contact. For example, you have a house, right? And you have electricity line in your house. You have electricity. You have gas, natural gas, right? You have internet connection. Then, for your bathroom, for all the drainage, you need a plumber. Is something wrong? If something is wrong with a building, you need a builder. If electricity is not, there is a fault, who do you call? The plumber? The builder? Who is responsible for it? The electrician. If something is wrong with the gas, you call British Gas. If there is a problem in the water pipeline, in the drainage system, the toilet is not working, the flush is not working, you call a plumber. In a similar way, a Sufi mediator, spiritual master, he knows if somebody's heart has a spiritual disease and a problem, then on his behalf, he contacts Adam. And he requests Adam to heal the heart of the disciple. Right? If there is a problem with the soul, on your behalf, the mediator will contact Abraham. If the city is suffering from any unknowable spiritual disease, then the spiritual mediator will contact Moses. If there is a problem with khafi, the soul khafi in the breast, the spiritual mediator will contact Jesus and will have the problem fixed. If something is wrong with ikhfa, the spiritual mediator will contact Prophet Muhammad, request him, and he will fix it for him. So the spiritual mediator, is linked with all grand messengers. He knows them by name and by their faces. And oftentimes, in the spiritual realms, a spiritual mediator visits their assemblies where all the messengers and all the prophets have a get together. Right? When he has learned to communicate with all the grand messengers, only then God Almighty delegates him to be an initiatory Sufi. You do not become a Sufi master by reading a book, or you do not become a Sufi master by having only the blessings of your own prophet or messenger. A Sufi master has to be endorsed by all grand messengers. Right? And then it is up to the spiritual mediator, it is at his discretion into which path does he initiate you. He will decide whether you should be initiated in Jesus' path, or Adam path, or Moses' path, or Mohammedan path. He will decide. This is the body of a spiritual mediator. Therefore, all those who find a spiritual mediator and they are connected with a spiritual mediator, it is not possible that the disciple of a Sufi master, that the disciple of a spiritual mediator does not respect all the prophets. He has to, because he knows. Not only the fact that he has to respect all, but he knows any bad word about any messenger of the prophet will mean his exclusion from the Sufi path. He will be expelled from spirituality. This is why all Sufis, they are very cautious and they're very alarmed and they're very alert when it comes to giving respect to the prophets and the grand messengers. And they want to make sure that they respect all of them equally. Why equally? Because without the help of any one of them, a Sufi will never reach God. Do you understand my point? Jesus, Muhammad, Adam, Moses, Abraham, all the grand messengers are equally important to a Sufi. So we need a spiritual mediator who is authorized by God to initiate others into spirituality. When somebody is delegated by God as a Sufi master, divine energy emanates from his body, because he has the representation of all the grand messengers, right? This is why all the religions, if they listen to him, will start loving him. They will think he belongs to us, because he, in his bosom, has representation of Mohammedans, representation of Jesus, representation of Abraham, Moses, and Adam. This is why everybody will say everybody can relate to him, because he represents all. Why must he represent all? Because it is very important for him to represent all. Because Sufism was not granted in full to any of them. Sufism was granted in portions to all these grand messengers. And after the completion of the 5 messengers, now we have the entire existence of Sufism. Sufism is Mohammedan path. Sufism is the path of Jesus. Sufism is the path of Moses and Abraham and Adam. I hope you understand this. This is a spiritual mediator. Now the panel will discuss this. I am speaking today in portions so that you can relate to it and it's easy for you to understand and comment on it. Brother Steve, we want your feedback on this. Spiritual mediator.
Going on now about the spiritual mediator, which is the most important part, obviously, of spirituality and going on the path of spirituality, being in touch with a spiritual mediator who has all his souls enlightened, and each of those souls is in contact with the respected messenger, the grand messenger. And when a seeker of spirituality comes before that mediator and asks them to be initiated into spirituality, that mediator will ask which one of the grand messengers to put that seeker on that path, which name to initiate his heart. And if there are any problems along the way or any sicknesses or deviations going on, then that spiritual mediator who is in contact with the grand messengers, who visits the upper realms, who communicates with the messengers, goes to the spiritual gatherings where these 5 messengers are, then obviously he will speak to the respected messenger of that seeker. His Holiness gave a beautiful example of maintaining a house. If you have a problem with the electricity, you don't call a plumber. You call the electrician. So the mediator will know exactly who to go to. And this is why, because obviously that divine light, divine energy is shared, and you have the attachment with your mediator, then it's impossible that that disciple will not respect all of the messages, all of the religions. And if that disciple doesn't respect all of the religions, and this is why the Sufis are very, very careful of how they think about messengers and religions. If they deviate from that path, if they speak against the messengers, then that disciple will be kicked out of spiritualism. So this was a beautiful topic today.
Yeah, now that was really amazing. Moving on to the topic of the spiritual mediator. And this is such an important issue to understand, especially for us in the West. And how it was explained was amazing. And the example that you've just given us again of a house. And the house has many utilities in it. We have the water line, we have the electricity line, we have the water, the drainage, you need a plumber for that. The electricity, you need an electrician. So if someone were to say that someone has an electric issue, would you be calling a plumber or a builder? No, you'd be calling an electrician. So in the same way, if there was, now we have a spiritual mediator, and it was shown on the board what is the spiritual anatomy of a spiritual mediator. He has got all those 5 celestial souls. They're all there. And then if there's something wrong with any the heart of a disciple, then what the mediator will be doing, the spiritual master, the Sufi master, what he will be then doing is that he would contact Prophet Adam, because he has the specialty, the expertise of the heart. If there was something wrong with the Siri, then the Sufi master would contact Prophet Moses. If there was something wrong with the soul, he would contact Prophet Abraham. If there was something wrong with the Khafi, he would contact Prophet Jesus. And in the same way, if there was something wrong with the Ikhfa, he would contact Prophet Muhammad. But here, to understand that how would he be able to contact all of them? He would be able to contact all of them if he, he has some form of connection with them. So nowadays we see, everyone claiming to be a spiritual master, a Sufi master. In the East especially, we have great Sufi masters. But if you were to take a disciple to them, hey, can you enlighten his heart? They have no clue. So a true Sufi master, from the first instance, the get-go, he should be able to initiate your heart, awaken your heart, obviously with the expertise of Prophet Adam. And if someone's not able to do that, it just speaks volumes, and it says that they are not a true spiritual master, a Sufi mediator. So this helps us understand that an actual spiritual mediator will be able to contact any of the 5 dignitaries, the spiritual dignitaries, the 5 grand messengers, and be able to heal any one of those celestial souls that may be suffering from an ailment and would be causing a disciple not to be able to progress in spirituality. That's an amazing point. And going to be amazing in the Western Sufi course. Mahad, would you like to mention something on that?
Tonight, His Holiness spoke about the spiritual mediator and how, a spiritual mediator, they have the representation of all 5 of the grand messengers. Therefore, a disciple, it's impossible that they're going to disrespect one of them, because they understand the importance of how each messenger plays a part in their opening of the breast, in their Sharai Sadr. So how their enlightenment through how they've progressed. And yeah, even if one, that's why Sufis are careful, because they know if they're disrespectful, even, an ill thought comes to their mind, they're going to lose an actual, they're going to lose out on spirituality. Precisely, yeah. And it all relates to that one topic again, that, what's it called? Excuse me. The knowledge of Gnosticism, it's all built upon, all of the saints, all of the prophets. All of the
Next point is opening of the heart, the heart activation.
Oh, wow, the heart activation.
Amazing.
Not the heart. Continue.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Remember that point. It's also down to the spiritual mediator.
Yes.
In regards to which path he initiates you onto.
Yeah. It wouldn't really matter again what religion you are. He'll put you on a path of, say, Jesus or Prophet Muhammad. At the end of the day, you will go into the part where it will enlighten all your souls, because it doesn't matter what path you're on. What matters is, your souls are enlightened, they're awakened. And through, respecting all the prophets and believing in all the grand messengers, you're going to awaken that, and you're going to reach God through that. Yeah, I mean, that's all I really have to say.
All right. ये मिटा दो. So Hinduism started with the knowledge of the awakening of the heart. This is where everything started. Hinduism is not about going to the temple, right? Hinduism is not about bowing your head at the statues. Hinduism is about opening of the heart. In order to become a true Hindu, look into your breast.
there are 5 souls. Which soul belongs to your religion? Which soul belongs to your religion? The marks of these religions are not in the books. They are within you. They're inside you. If you do not know about these 5 souls in the human breast, then you don't belong to any religion. Right? You do not belong to any religion at all. So what these religions were for? To awaken the souls in your breast. To awaken the souls in your breast. Whether you were born at the time of Adam or you are born now, your spiritual journey starts with awakening of the heart. Whether you were born at the time of Adam or you are born today, your spiritual journey will begin with the activation of the heart. So heart activation is the bedrock of Sufism. Heart activation the gateway to Sufism, the bedrock of Sufism. Without activation of the heart, neither you will gain anything out of the practice of your religion, nor you will learn Sufism. Let me say it again. Without opening of the heart, without activation of the heart, neither will you understand your religion, nor you will understand spirituality and Sufism. So, opening of the heart is a must for both spirituality and true understanding of any religion. Do you understand my point? So, activation and opening of the heart is the bedrock of all religions, spirituality, and Sufism. When you talk about Islam, you're only talking about Islam. But when you talk about Sufism, do you know what it means? You're talking about all the religions. Because Sufism is a building which has 5 floors, and each floor was built by each religion. Now you have the entire building, and nobody has the monopoly, because each floor was donated by a religion. Now you live there freely and be thankful to all 5 religions. Do you understand my point? Activation of the heart is the bedrock of Sufism and spirituality. What does it mean? Because all the souls are placed inside the heart. All the souls inside the heart. This is the heart. The soul is also dormant inside it. Siri is inside it. Khafi, ikhfa, everything is inside it. When you open this, then they will come out. This is why opening of the heart is the bedrock. Opening of the heart is the bedrock. Very important. Not just very important. You can't do nothing without it. Opening of the heart. And if Muslims think, what knowledge is this? What religion is this? Don't say that. The Quran said it. أَفَمَنْ شَرَحَ اللَّهُ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ فَهُوَ عَلَى نُورٍ مِّن رَبِّهِ. You're supposed to open your heart according to the Quran. If nobody in your religion told you, they are ignorant people and you're ignorant man. Right? Let's be a square. Tit for tat. Sometimes people compel you to be square with them. Opening of the heart. How will a spiritual mediator open your heart? Because he has obtained power and knowledge by different messengers upon instruction from God. Right? Therefore, if you have become a Sufi master by reading books and you do not know where Adam is, where Abraham is, where to contact Moses, where to find Jesus, where to call upon Prophet Muhammad, you will only waste your life and time, and you will waste the time and life of your disciples. Don't do that. A majority of Sufi masters today are those who are self-proclaimed Sufis. Self-proclaimed Sufis. They haven't been delegated by God. If you want to find somebody who has been delegated by God, then go and ask him to open your heart. Because heart opening, activation of the heart, can only be obtained from somebody who is in contact with Jesus, Moses, Muhammad, Abraham and Adam and God. Don't ask him question, have you seen God? Don't ask him, have you seen Jesus? He lived with them. That's why he has authority and power to connect you to them. Right? So, for opening of the heart, there is an act of authorization and initiation. The spiritual mediator will seek authorization from God and from all 5 grand messengers. Right? Therefore, only those will be able to authorize, those will be able to successfully obtain authorization who give equal respect to all the messengers. If your mind is plagued with false pride and you think you are the best of all, then the chances are that the authorization will fail. And then you will start making fun of the knowledge of the heart. Like, oh, I attended their discourse and I said, okay, if you are true enough, open my heart, and my heart was never open. So they're all a bunch of liars. True. Because you failed the authorization. No Sufi has the authority to activate your heart on his own. The Sufi master has to seek authorization from God. Why from God? Because guidance is God's department. Nobody else can guide you. ہدایت دینا اللہ کا کام، انسان کا کام نہیں ہے.
So authorization has to come from God. So make sure when you find a spiritual guide, spiritual mediator, he has communication skills with God, right? And number one way of knowing for the fact that this guy is connected with God is to see whether his heart is activated. وَلَا تُطِعْ مَنْ أَغْفَلْنَا قَلْبَهُ عَنْ ذِكْرِنَا. Do not follow those whose hearts have been made heedless of God's remembrance from God. So in order to obtain authorization of the activation of the heart, you find a spiritual mediator. And if it's a true spiritual mediator, then he will initiate you. First, you will be initiated, and in the next step, you will be authorized. You will be initiated, and your file will be submitted to God. God will have a look at it. If He likes you, He will allow you, authorize you for the activation of the heart. And if God doesn't want you to love Him, or God doesn't want to love you, then you will fail the process of the divine authorization. But the chances are those who aspire to become holy, those who aspire to love God, those who aspire to spiritualize their life, and they have no issues with any prophets, they have no issues with any saints of God, then in no time authorization is received from God. The moment authorization is received, in the next step, a mystical formula, meaning a divine name, a name of God, is implanted in the soil of your heart. A mystical formula, meaning a divine name. There are 99 names of God, which are the manifestations of His different attributes. There are 99 known names of God. And each of the messenger of God was granted by God a name of God. Right? So the name of God which was granted to your messenger becomes mystical formula for you when you go for the opening of the heart. Right? Name of God granted to Jesus was Qudus. Qudus means the sacred one. Right? The name of God granted to Moses was Rahman. And Abraham was not granted a name of God. And God said to him when he was asked, "What name of yours will you grant me?" And God said, "I am who I am." In short, in Hebrew, they call it Yahweh. So they use these words, these phrases, as a substitute for God's name. The Hindus use different names: Om, Ram, Hari, right? Bhagwan, many different names. All these names of God have different impressions, different attributes. If you were granted a name of God which means love, right? So you will develop in your heart love, only one theophany of God, only one type of light of God, which will fill your heart with love. Now, this love will be generic. It will not mean you will love God or you will love your prophet. It will be, raw material of love, immature love. God granted Prophet Muhammad his personal name, which is Allah, right? It is not about the religions, what name should you use. Rather, it is about how far in love of God you want to go, and how far in God's nearness you want to arrive. Today we have all the different names of God for initiation. We initiate people with the mystical formula of Om, of Ram, of Jesus, God, Elohim, Rahman, Rahim, Quddus, Allah. Different. Which name, which divine mystical formula you will use for the opening of the heart used to depend on authorization from God. When God authorizes one with activation of the heart, the activation of the heart, the authorization will come with the name granted by God. But today, thanks to His Holiness Sarkar Gohar Shahi, you can choose the personal name of God and get close to God as one can get. So in the opening of the heart, authorization is very important. And when authorization from God is received, then یہ بتانا ذرا. This is physical heart. And this is a spiritual heart. It is dormant. Unconscious. It is sitting on the physical heart. Why we call it activation of the heart? Because the spiritual heart is sitting on the physical heart and it is dormant. It is unconscious, senseless, unconscious. When we say activation of the heart, we activate not the physical heart, we activate the spiritual heart, which is the soul. This physical heart is present even in animals. You cannot activate a dog's heart. Why? Because a dog doesn't have a spiritual heart. It only has a physical heart. Right? So when we say activation of the heart, we mean this unconscious soul of the heart, the spiritual heart, which is clung to the physical heart. It is in dormant state. It is in unconscious state. This needs to be activated. It needs to be brought to consciousness. Right? If this soul is dead or diseased, initiation of the heart will not work for you. Right? If this soul of the heart is diseased, then activation of the heart is not possible. In that case, the spiritual mediator will contact Adam and request him to fix the problem, heal the spiritual heart. Right? And for this purpose, the disciple has to do something extraordinary so that he can earn the favor of his spiritual master, who will then mediate between him and Prophet Adam. If it is only unconscious and dormant, it is not dead or it is not diseased, then activation of the heart is very simple. Now we talked about the disease, it can be fixed. But what if the spiritual heart is dead? Why should it be dead? Why should it be dead? Let me tell you how and why. You know, in our country, Pakistan, there are a lot of cases in which Sufis, Christians, and Hindus are entrapped into false cases of blasphemy against Prophet Muhammad. And these are false cases. But there is a law. If you talk about the Prophet lowly or you blaspheme the Prophet, the punishment in Pakistan is death sentence, capital punishment. What if you talk bad about Jesus? For example, there are so many cases in which Sufis and Hindus and Christians in Pakistan, false cases of blasphemy against the Prophet were instigated, and they were, penalized, they were punished, they were stoned to death in jails, prisons. Is there any case registered in any police station in any of the city of Pakistan whereby somebody spoke bad about Jesus and a blasphemy case was registered against him? No. Imran Khan should work on it. Imran Khan should understand that in the eyes of God, all prophets are respectful. If one talks bad about our prophet, should you allow him to talk bad about other prophets? Obviously, Moses, Abraham, Jesus are not from our religion of Islam, but definitely they are from God. Our prophet is from God, and these prophets are also from God. Now, what happens in spirituality? If you talk low of any of the grand messengers or prophets, God will not take it. If you blaspheme Jesus Christ, if you blaspheme Abraham, if you blaspheme Moses, Adam, God will instantly seize life of your spiritual heart, and it is dead. If you blaspheme any religion, if you blaspheme Hinduism, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, as a result of this blasphemy, God will seize life of your spiritual heart. If your spiritual heart is dead, then there is no activation of the heart for you. You cannot become a Sufi. Do you understand? So I hope you understand how important it is to give respect to all the messengers and all the religions. All the messengers and all the religions. Because if this spiritual heart is dead, then spirituality and Sufism is not for you. You can never become a Sufi. So hold your tongue very tight. Make sure you do not commit sacrilege to any prophet, any messenger of God, or any religion. If you do, God will seize life of your spiritual heart. And when life of his spiritual heart is seized, there is no activation for you. I hope you understand the point. Now, if all is well and good, you're a good guy, you never spoke against anyone, right? You never spoke about Adam, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Prophet Muhammad. Good. The chances are your application for authorization of heart activation will be successful. Because you're a good guy. You do not discriminate. You respect all of them. So the chances are that your application for authorization of activation of the heart will be smooth and successful. Once authorization arrives, you need a mystical formula. Mystical formula divine name. The spiritual mediator will implant divine name here. Like a seed, right? You see, when you go to hospital for surgery, they give you anesthesia. They inject anesthesia in your body, and in no time you're gone. Similarly, when Isme Zat, the divine formula, when the divine energy is injected in your unconscious heart, you gain consciousness straight away. You gain consciousness straight away. This consciousness doesn't come by reading books, as it is famous in the West. Read this book, read that book, attend this lecture, go for meditation. This will elevate your conscious level. No, conscious level is not a ladder. You will climb step by step and reach second floor. No. Consciousness of the heart will only come when divine energy is injected in the dormant soul of the heart. The moment divine energy, Noor Ilahi, Noor of Isme Zat, the moment the divine energy is injected in the unconscious heart, it gains consciousness. And what happens then thereafter? As soon as the spiritual heart gains consciousness, it starts to say God's name. Why? Because it is in its nature. Because it is in the nature. Which means our heart was unconscious. Our heart was unconscious. Only because of this reason that the heart was unconscious, it was not remembering God. When did it become unconscious? The moment when it was placed in our body by the angels at the time of birth. Which means before it was placed in our body, it was remembering God. This is why when it regains consciousness, it starts from where it stopped. Remembering God, repeating the name of God. So this remembrance of God is not worship. It is like, injections of divine energy. Like when you're low in energy, you go to hospital, they put CV on you, and you get better. So the purpose of remembrance of God, the idea of repeating God's name inside the heart is not worship. Is to produce divine energy. Is to produce divine energy. Why we need to produce divine energy? Why do we eat every day? To sustain life. Right? So, life was restored in your spiritual heart by your mediator. Now you need to sustain life in it. Now your spiritual heart will run on divine energy. And the divine energy which is required for your spiritual heart to run will come from within your heart. There is no spiritual market where you go and say, I want 1 kilo of divine energy. No, there is no marketplace. It is produced inside the heart. And then your heart will be in constant remembrance of God. And when God's name is repeated inside the heart, it will produce divine energy. Right? Now, so the name of God, you have a choice which name of God you want to use for your heart activation. It's very similar to the restaurant menu. You go to a restaurant, there is a list of different dishes, right? This is bhindi, this is pakoda, this is aloo bhaji, eh? This is nihari, this is korma. Some dishes are more expensive than the other. You can fill your stomach with anything, right? But then some people go for quality and taste. Kuch log baazauq hote hain meri tarah. Some people go for the taste and quality. They spend money. Right? In a similar way, what name of God you want to use as source of divine energy in your heart? It's not about Hinduism and Islam and Christianity and Judaism. It's about quality. I mean, what car do you want to drive? Maruti? Suzuki Maruti? Ford Fiesta? Hyundai? Kia? Honda? Mercedes? BMW? Aston Martin? So many of them. Maserati? Don't bite your lips. Rehan? When I said Maserati, he was biting his lips. You won't get any of them. So obviously you want the best vehicle. Now this is your desire. You want to buy the best vehicle. But do you have money? No. No. The only way you can get the best vehicle without money is when somebody is so generous and he says to you, okay, go drive, don't screw it. Until the last messenger, Prophet Muhammad, there was this law. For you, this name of God. For Hindus, this name of God. For Jews, this name of God. For Christians, this name of God. For Muslims, this name of God. And personal name of God was granted to Prophet Muhammad. So those wishing to reach God, the person of God, they had a hurdle. Without the help of Prophet Muhammad, they wouldn't obtain the personal name of God. However, we're so happy and we feel proud to let you know that this monopoly from one religion has been removed. Now, the personal name of God, and even more personal than personal name of God, has arrived. More intimate, more personal name of God has arrived. And it is available. Not for one religion, not for two, not for three, not for one group of people, not for one country, but for the entire human race. Whoever you are. Whoever you are. So this is spiritual heart and God's name. This is like your business, right? Like you have your business or your job, you make money, and then you buy a house, buy a car, buy everything with the help of your business. In a similar way, this name of God and activation of the heart is like your spiritual business. All the progression in spirituality will generate from your heart. This is how important it is. Right? So opening of the heart has 3 points. Authorization from God. Number 2, a mediator who is capable of obtaining authorization for you from God. And then the state of your heart, spiritual heart. If it is only unconscious, everything is fine then. If it is diseased, it will take time. First the disease will be removed, then you will be authorized, then it will work for you. However, if you have been blasphemous to any of the messengers of God or the saints of God, in that scenario, in that case, your spiritual heart is dead. No activation of heart will work on you. Right? Once the authorization is received, God's name as a mystical formula is injected and implanted in your heart, and then every beat of your heart will then repeat God's name constantly. And this constant remembrance of God inside the heart will produce divine energy constantly. This is the beginning of your spiritual journey. Right? And this is one point complete now. Would like the panel to discuss it. Am I boring you? You're not bored? बोल के दिखाओ, अभी मैं आपकी बोरियत दूर करता स्वामी जी, आनंद मिल रहा है ना? Brother Steve, would you like to?
That was a huge topic, heart activation, which is carrying on from the previous about this. Once you have this spiritual mediator, once you've found a perfect spiritual guide, then you can apply.
So, Brother Steve, just imagine when you are initiating somebody's heart, all 5 grand messengers are looking at you.
Yes, incredible.
Do you realize that? Huh? All thanks to Sarkar Gohar Shah's bounty.
Yeah, it is.
This is amazing.
It's amazing.
स्वामी जी, आपको भी इजाजत है जिक्र देने की. पता है कितनी बड़ी बात है ये? Yes, Brother Steve, go on.
Yeah, this heart activation is the bedrock of and the gateway to Sufism. And His Holiness went on to say that if people just talk about the stick and just talk about the religions, Sufis talk about all the religions, and this is all integrated. That once the authorization takes place, the spiritual guide will find the name. This is this is
Divine formula.
yeah,
The
the divine,
mystical formula.
the divine
Mystical
formula,
formula.
the mystical formula.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm completely gone with the whole thing. Yeah, do you want to?
Yeah.
Are you enjoying it?
Yes, yeah.
It's going to take me a long time to process.
Great spiritual journey comes from the Almighty God to the messenger.
Yeah, so Hoya started with the point that Hinduism, and why Hinduism? Because Prophet Adam brought the knowledge of the spiritual heart. So, and obviously we know now that Hinduism is a derivative from the religion that Prophet Adam brought. So Hinduism started with the knowledge of the heart, and it's about the opening of the heart. So His Holiness said that we look for religion, for the knowledge of the religion in the books. However, the knowledge of the religion isn't in the books, it's within you. It's within the celestial souls within you. And His Holiness also explained how we have the human heart, and clung upon the human, the fleshy heart, is the soul of the spiritual heart. It's the spiritual heart that is clung onto the physical heart. And that spiritual heart that is clung onto the physical heart is in a dormant state. And His Holiness also explained about the authorization of the spiritual heart, because before we were speaking about, we were on the topic of the spiritual mediator, and how you need the spiritual mediator in order to gain the opening of the heart. So then we came on to the authorization of the name of the opening of the heart, and it was explained that in order to gain the opening of the spiritual heart, you need authorization from God. And this authorization isn't down to the discretion of the spiritual mediator, it's down to the discretion of God. Only God can decide who He wants to grant guidance to and who He does not want to grant guidance to. And so what the spiritual mediator does is, whenever there's a disciple, a seeker that wants the opening of the spiritual heart, then the spiritual mediator contacts God, and he sends the file of that seeker, of the disciple, to God for authorization of the opening of the spiritual heart. And then what God looks from then onwards is whether or not the heart has any sign of life left in it or not. So we were told that the spiritual heart is in a dormant state upon clung onto the physical heart, and it's naturally in a dormant state when we come into the world. But there are instances whereby the dormant state of the heart can change into the death of the spiritual heart. God seizes life of the spiritual heart, and that happens when certain individuals decide to blaspheme or speak ill of the grand messengers of God, because God doesn't have any of that. He doesn't appreciate and in fact doesn't like that anybody speaks ill of the grand messengers that God sent. So in case anybody utters any ill words or says anything bad or blasphemes against the messengers of God, then God seizes the life of such of the life of the spiritual heart from such individuals, and then they would have to obviously go to the spiritual mediator, who has to gain authorization from God. And from there onwards, when God approves and authorizes any individual for the opening of the spiritual heart, then what happens is that with the authorization of the opening of the spiritual heart comes the mystical formula. And the mystical formula is the name of God. And His Holiness said that in the way that, and as soon as the name of God enters, the mystical formula enters the dormant heart, it immediately, awakens because of the divine energy, and immediately awakens and starts immediately remembering God. And it was explained that as soon as it is, brought out of the unconscious state and is made conscious, it still, it immediately starts remembering God. And why is that? Because obviously, before it became unconscious, its job was also to remember God. So that's why as soon as it gains consciousness, it also starts to remember God. And how it becomes unconscious is when the angels are placing that celestial soul within the baby. That's the point at which it becomes dormant. It becomes unconscious. Would you like to add to that?
Yeah, sure. So just now His Holiness spoke about the spiritual heart.
Anything missing from this topic?
Everything's
Activation of the heart. Is it any different to how we explained it in America?
Oh yes, yeah, it's completely different. Yeah, I mean,
It's a lot more concise.
Very, yeah,
Really
way
detailed.
Way above my intellect.
Why is that? You seem lost.
Yeah,
Just too much.
yeah, it would take me a few days to process it.
But it's going to be all available on the
Yeah,
with the
Because
video.
now it's academic,
yeah.
so I have to go through the details.
Yes.
No? So that those who are participating in this course, they should have the know-how and know about the thing that they are going through. They should know everything about the activation of the heart. Because all the messengers are involved in the activation of the heart. It's not just about one particular messenger or a prophet. All of them are involved. When you know all of them are involved, then you have to be careful about everyone. If you're not careful about all of them, the chances are that you will fail the authorization. So the divine formula, the name of God, is implanted. And that implant of God's name is nourishment and the spiritual livelihood of the heart. It runs on the spiritual energy produced by the heart. This is opening of the heart. And if this has happened and you die, according to Quran, you're okay. يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ. On the day of judgment, nothing will benefit you. Nor your wealth, nor your sons. إِلَّا مَنْ آتَ اللَّهِ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. But those who bring to God an enlightened heart, they will be successful. If heart activation is done and God's name has entered your heart, you're through. You have found the purpose of the life. The life hereafter. You have found the purpose of the life. This is very, very important. The awareness of this must be raised. Heart activation. आप लोगों के धर्म में इस तरह का कोई है कॉन्सेप्ट? अंदर दिल वाला बोलिए.
यही this remember of God's name, it's called in Hinduism, Sanatan Hindu Dharma is नाम स्मरण, नेम स्मरण, यानी कि रिमेम्बर ऑफ गॉड्स नेम. Naam Smaran. It's tasbih, mala, and then after you transfer in the heart with love, remember of God's name. This is same system, same formula is implemented in Sanatana Hindu Dharma.
Really?
But it's called name Naam Smaran.
Love for the great Sufi teacher and poet Rumi. Love is the only force that can transcend the bounds of reason, the distinctions of knowledge, and the isolation of normal consciousness. The love he experienced was not only sensual pleasure, it might be more fully described as love for all things. For creation itself, love is continually expanding capacity and culminates in certainty, in the recognition that there is nothing in this world or in the next that is not both loving and loved. The perception of God as the beloved, common to both Christians and Sufi writings. The perception of God as the beloved, common to both Christian and Sufi writings, comes from direct experience. The essence of God is love, and the Sufi path is a path of love. Love is to see what is good and beautiful in everything. It is to learn from everything to see the gifts of God and generosity of God in everything. It is to be thankful for God. It is to be thankful for all God's bounties. The Sufis report that by channeling their energy into loving God, Brother Steve, the Sufis report that by channeling their energies into loving God, they receive a response, that of being loved in return. By channeling their energies into loving God, they receive a response, that of being loved in return. Just as in a personal relationship, the act of loving brings forth or awakens love in another. In Sufism, it is said that if you take 2 steps towards God, God runs to you. You take 2 steps towards God, and God runs to you. Love brings the lover to union with the beloved. At a certain point along the path of love, God reaches out and begins to assist us, drawing the seeker toward the divine presence. As this occurs, striving melts into surrender, through which one is helped to awaken, is taken in by God. The eyes of the Durwesh, the eyes of the Sufi, who is a true lover, see not but God. His heart knows not but Him. God is the eye by which he sees, the hand with which he holds, and the tongue with which he speaks. Were he not in love, he would pass away. If his heart should be devoid of love, for as much as a single moment, the Sufi could not stay alive. Love is Sufi's life, his health, his comfort. Love ruins the Sufi, makes him weep. Union makes him flourish, brings him to life. Remembrance of God is very important in Sufism. Remembrance means a temporary inner state in which awareness of God overwhelms the person and he or she becomes truly divorced from all concerns for the world, at least for the moment. This is remembrance of the heart. Fourth remembrance is a deep and stable inner station in which invocation and mindfulness have become constant. This is the remembrance of the soul. So we have talked about opening of the heart today. Tomorrow we will talk about other functions of the heart. Spiritual journeys, transcendental meditation, and how heart turns into a communicative tool to stay in touch with God, and how the spiritual heart bridges men with God, and how through your spiritual heart you send your messages to God and God replies to you. Tomorrow we will study the entire knowledge pertaining to the heart. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed it.